Jan! Welcome in, everybody. I am Vicariously Jambi, and today we will be talking about RWBY Volume 5, which I wanted to talk about last week so we can get ahead of schedule and talk about Volume 6 today, but rude. But because of unforeseen events that were happening today, I unfortunately had to reschedule. Well, because of weather and such from last week, had to reschedule to today. But aside from that, my roommate had to go to work early today on his day off because he was called in and he needs the hours. And so had to take him to work, but he unfortunately has to get off at around like 11 tonight. So by the time we'd finish yapping about volume 5, we'll just end up not having time to do our watch party or talk about volume 6 either. So, Volume 6 is coming next week. Volume 5 is finally now. And unfortunately, because of scalpers and people not knowing how to properly sell DVDs properly, I could not get the Blu-ray or DVD versions of Volume 6. So we would have to Yarhar it, missing out any potential contextual behind the scenes features that could be good or bad depending on how you see it. I'm thinking there's like some special like trailers or previews that are on YouTube in regards to Volume 6's release. So I could try to find that. We could just like, watch that, then y'all hard the rest of the series after that. But like any like important information behind the scenes work is kind of a no-go for Volume 6. Unless I can get something by next week. If not, it's probably not gonna happen. So we're probably just gonna be winging it and going in going straight to the meat of things rather than getting some like possibly important context that we might need before jumping in. Alright. Without further ado, I'm gonna call chat, summon the nerds, and we can get into the fun of things.
Hello.
How
you doing?
I'm doing.
Oh, I mean, that's something.
Yep.
Get some tunes.
Careful, Warner Brothers might sue you.
What? You mean like Looney Tunes?
Yeah.
They don't give a fuck about Looney Tunes.
This is true. Alright. So since it has been a little bit over a week since we missed out on talking about RWBY Volume 5 because of the fucking weather being a bitch, I have gotten I pretty much have like the wiki for summarization of Volume 5 right here just to give a
recap.
A good recap at least. And it's got some pretty decent information on here. I do like how it has like an episode lineup, and they also have
episode synopsises.
Not yes that, but also like what order to watch any like trailers or shorts that they come out in the lead up to the release of the like following volume. So like those trailers, yeah. So those trailers we watched before we got into volume 6, or no, I'm so sorry, volume 5. Yeah, those were the proper things to do. Was watch those first, then get into it.
Okay. I mean that makes sense if they're trailers.
right now we're just waiting on Phoenix. I might actually have to pull up like the wiki entries like every now and then,
Mm-hmm.
just so we can see if there's any like
Mm-hmm.
specific information set up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's probably gonna be helpful because it's like I'll remember it once we start talking about it. It's like, oh, it's been a week.
Mm-hmm. Because like a lot of the comments in regards to like this particular article section in the respective
Mm-hmm.
RWBY wiki, like the first comment is like, still a little salty. Volume 5 gave us a lot of good stuff and easily could have been the best volume, but the direction is honestly what was holding it back.
Mm-hmm. I didn't really have any issues with it. Like, wasn't like the best seasons were kind of like way cooler, but this I thought it was fine.
I
No
thought
complaint.
so. Here's the thing: is that it should have
Mm-hmm.
been not fine as in not as in bad, but as in not fine
Mm-hmm.
as in it should have been better. That's the issue.
Mm-hmm.
And with all the plot setup and where it took place and how the importance of where it took place on top of that
Mm-hmm.
should have been the equivalent of Volume 3, if not
Mm-hmm.
just subpart of that. That's the issue a lot of people had, because like it's
Mm-hmm.
already going to be like the next the second Fall of Beacon, but at Haven Academy this time. But
Mm-hmm.
they played it safe, and that same person I just
Yeah.
yeah, that same person I just read the that comment from about the directional choice it went. Um,
Mm-hmm.
he actually has a different comment that's right under that one from a year
Mm-hmm.
before his previous comment, and
Mm-hmm.
he says, and I quote, "Honestly, they should have made Volume 5 about Adam and his motives, backstory, etc., so his downfall can be grander going into Volume 6. While we were
Mm-hmm.
spending most of our time in that horrid Airbnb," in reference to like Menagerie, because like it was cool to visit
Mm-hmm.
Menagerie because that's where all the faunists go to, or like most faunists who want
Mm-hmm.
to live in a neutral territory.
Mm-hmm.
We really didn't get to see that much of it, and it was kind of funny too, because if I remember
Mm-hmm.
correctly, at the end of Volume 4, when Sun made it to Menagerie with Blake, he even says like,
Mm-hmm.
"You only guys only like fuck not harvested. Fuck. What's the? Oh, you guys. Oh,
Recruited?
no. You guys only colonized only 25% of this island. Why didn't you explore the rest of it? And honestly, Blake didn't even give it like a proper answer either. Not. I don't even
Did they
remember.
say like half of it's like desert and like mountains, so it's like not really usable?
Possibly. I have to actually
I'm
find
pretty sure
the.
she. I'm pretty sure she said like most of it's like desert and shit. Like,
I.
so like we populate the ones that would actually be able to populate. Like we can't populate the desert. It's hot as fuck over there.
I mean, that's but where Sun is from, him and people like him from I was
Mm-hmm.
it Vacuole, I think it is. Yeah, that's where he's
Mm-hmm.
from. That's literally how his entire like childhood has been. So like people
Mm-hmm.
can explore.
Hello.
Apologies for my lateness.
Oop.
My
all good.
fucking internet was acting crazy.
Oh no.
It's all good. You're only been like 10 minutes late.
Yeah,
Champy's only been live for like 17.
yeah,
Most of it just like starting soon.
yeah. So we can avoid like the first run of ads, but
Mhm.
Fair enough.
right now we're just talking about like an overview, and we just got into this discussion about and I actually might be going into this because this actually might help focus on certain topics going forward, because right now, since it's been over a week, I have the wiki entry that's like the overview of Volume 5 itself, and
Right.
I'm going to the comment section of this article, or not article, wiki entry, and the one of the top two comments already are actually bringing up fair points of why Volume 5 was not well received, or well, not well liked as it should have been back when it first came out back in 2017, I believe. 2017
That
or
sounds all right.
hold on. Yeah. Also, cool thing about this wiki entry is they even have the chronological order of like how to watch the trailers, YouTube videos going into volume 6 or 5, and then they had the chronological order of each individual episode of when it released, because I forgot that back then they were released episodically.
Right.
But yeah, 2017. They started in 2017 and ended in 2018.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we were talking about how this should have been a Adam season, and then Rooster Teeth tried shuffling in a lot of things. So like I'll read the first comment before, because I already read it to Dakota and we were actually just discussing about that. But the first comment of the wiki entry is from 3 years ago, back in, what was that? That's August. That's July 14th of 2020, by somebody by a name of Blue Cheese 2. Still a little salty. Volume 5 gave us a lot of good stuff and easily could have been the best volume, but the direction is honestly what was holding it back. Now, the year before that comment by him, he made a comment back in 2021 where he gives a more clarification of what he means by this. And he says, and I quote, "Honestly, they should have made Volume 5 about Adam and his motives, backstory / whatever. So his downfall would be grander going into Volume 6. While we were spending most of our time in the Horde Airbnb," and this is kind of where we kind of drifted off a little bit of a rant, Phoenix, before you came in, where we were talking about Menagerie and how Menagerie was like cool to visit and see what a neutral looking territory looked like amongst Faunus. It still was kind of like a nothing burger, because we never really like explored it further. And even Sun back in Volume 4 was called it out like, hey, you guys only colonized like 25% of this whole island. Why not explore the rest of it, and whatnot? And then Dakota raised the point. Well, Blake said it was like nothing but deserts and wasteland on the other 75% of the island, and then who would want to colonize that? And I brought up the point that Sun Wukong quite literally is from Vacuo, where it's literally nothing but that.
Like, I mean, like, you also have to put in account about like Grim, because like it's like desert, wasteland, and like Grim out there. It just might not be habitable. And like, I know there are places in the world where people live in the desert, but maybe there's like certain types of deserts are only habitable. Like they can't just like go into the desert and just start like building houses.
Well, we don't quite know until whenever RWBY returns, and if they do return, possibly visit Vacuo next, because the first 3 volumes is in Vale.
Beacon. Oh, sorry.
Vale.
Yes, the Kingdom of Vale, Beacon Academy, and then volumes 4, 5, 6 are in Mistral at Haven Academy, and then fucking train's coming. Then 7, 8, 9 is in Mantle, the Kingdom.
Well,
Atlas Academy.
Well, 7 and 8. 9 isn't in Remnants at all.
Well, okay, you got me there. I forgot.
Good Lord, Thomas, shut the fuck up.
For real. It's loud today for some reason. Anyways, yeah, that's a good point. I don't want to say anything else, but technically, if you want to get technical, I guess it could be technically still within the confines of Atlas, considering of like you had to be in Atlas to go. Anyways, I'm not gonna say anything else because that's gonna just get into spoiler territory, and we're not even.
You're just. I'm assuming just like another dimension or realm. So like, what, they just build a portal to go there?
Not quite.
Not quite. But like you're in the ballpark.
Let's just say for now, like, just another realm.
Right. Oh.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyways, basically technically all 3, and like they have like every single 3 volumes be set in a specific kingdom and academy. But yeah, and so anyways, the rest of the quote goes, we could have got more insight about Adam and his process of revising the White Fang. Also, we definitely should have gotten a fight between Adam and Sienna to make it look like less effortless and span out to be an also lacking action this volume. And that's a
Hmm.
fair assessment because that was also a community consensus where they finally introduced Sienna Khan, who is based off of Shere Khan from the Jungle Book as well. Hence why she's also
Cool.
hence why she's also a tiger.
Oh, oh, so she hates man. That's clever.
Yep,
Mm-hmm.
yep.
That's actually that's actually a clever like pull for like a fairy tale character. I
Mhm.
kind of like
Yep.
that's neat.
Yep, and she's a
And they killed her.
and she's a
Wait, they didn't. Why did they missed opportunity? They could have set her castle on fire.
yes,
Fuck.
you're getting it, Dakota. You are getting
Firebow.
it. You are getting it.
Oh, that would have been cool. Like the cinematic parallels.
Yeah.
You are now understanding why what I've been saying, where like there's they do like a lot of missed opportunities, and then they just waste a lot of potential. So Sienna Khan, who is a tiger faunus based off of Shere Khan, and the leader of the White Fang, who at this point in their ideology, philosophy, is to pretty much be the equivalent of, I guess, and this is where I make a lot of parallels with the White Fang originally being the MLK movement, where they do peaceful protests of equality, whereas Malcolm X was the more vengeful, more aggressive side of it. And it's also one of the reasons why in the history of the civil rights movement, you're only going to find one picture of MLK and Malcolm X together at all, which is quite significant if you think about it with what they were both striving for in terms of equality. But yeah, and then Sienna Khan is the Malcolm X of things technically, and then Adam becomes a fanatic, a heretic, basically, where
More or less.
where he is just wanting to just outright wipe humanity off the face of the earth, more or less. Not just
It's like not necessarily like I care about necessarily the movement. It's more of like I care about my own vengeance.
yes,
Like
and
he's on the same page where like fuck humans, but like it's more of like personal. Like I just want to kill everyone.
It goes from being more hostile protest
Yeah.
to just flat out genocide.
yep.
Yeah.
And you can even see this too, and like again, they waste Sienna Khan like so abruptly. They're like, there's this I can't remember their name. They're like a critter YouTuber, and they like making videos talking about rating Ruby designs from like early days of Ruby to like current gen Ruby, and she praises the hell out of Sienna Khan's design, saying it's like absolutely pitch perfect and everything, and then like everyone else, she says that was a waste of a character to just be introduced only to be killed off immediately after. And like what a lot of people are saying, like what Blue Cheese here says is that make it a fight, don't make it. And they even were about to have her like fight for her right to be leader still, and then like nope, assassinated.
Honestly, it felt like that like we had a lot of episode on like what's the island called? But it doesn't matter. But like that island. But like Menagerie.
Menagerie.
But it's like I feel like they could have maybe had an episode where Blake confronts her and says like, "Yo, I don't trust y'all." And like I think Adam's behind something, and then like, "Oh, there's nothing wrong. We're gonna do what we want." Misunderstanding, whatever. Like, get the fuck out, Blake, and then do like a fight with Adam Taurus later, and then kill her. Just like one more episode to like establish her because she was like introduced and then killed.
See, I like how you had that mindset in mind, Dakota, because when volumes 3, 4, and I'm sorry, 4, 5, 6 came out, my initial thinking when reviewing those and absorbing their content and storytelling and narrative direction, honest to fucking God, when Team Ruby got separated, I honestly believe that each individual volume this should have gone to each girl. Like, you know, you have volume 4 focus around Ruby, because honestly that was literally a Ruby episode or a Ruby season, more or less, because everyone else was kind of like doing nothing except like be at home. And then
Pretty much.
And then you have I guess you can say volume 5 is a Blake episode. It's like a tie between a Blake episode and a Yang episode, or not season. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, more or less, because Yang was going through her own evolution and recovery while looking for Crow and Ruby. Well, Blake was mainly trying to, you know, get back the White Fang, reconcile with her parents, and try to, I guess, get past the fact that she more or less ran out on her team and betrayed Yang's trust. And Weiss was more or less just there.
Yeah.
They could have honestly like you suggested, have each season be about one character. Like, I don't know if they should go that far, but like maybe like have a season focus on one character more, and then just have like one or two one-off episodes about what the other characters are doing. Like, they didn't really need to be like cutting back and forth to everyone. They could have just had like their own standalone episode,
maybe their own season, because like one of the biggest gripes I have with Yang going from like post Monty Ohm is that she's still, you can still see she's still recovering from her PTSD, but the problem is that she kind of just like, I don't know, jumped head first in the shallow end when it came from, and she says it off like as an offhand comment that she was basically dealing with her PTSD off screen, and that just seemed bad. I mean, that was just bad writing, or just lazy, I should say, because and I mean, I hate going back to this because the first attempt of the DC RWBY comic was literally to be that gap filler for everyone of what happened to them during the time skip gap between 3 and 4, and they fucked it up. Well, they kind of did right with Yang a little bit, but it was like only for like 5 pages, which isn't enough to justify like a year's worth of PTSD and trauma, and to overcome it off screen. And
like, why didn't they make like a character to represent Mowgli and have Mowgli be the one to kill Shere Khan, like an evil Mowgli?
That would have been a little too much on the nose, I think.
Yeah, a little too much on the nose, and the fact that their namesakes and I guess archetypes.
Hear me out. Like, we already had the lizard girl who could change color. I know technically she's not a frog, but Mowgli, I believe in the Jungle Book, it said like Mowgli means like weird little frog. So like, and her like weapon's kind of like a frog tongue. Like, maybe if they could have reworked that character and then have her like kill Shere Khan with fire or something, and she's human passing. I don't know.
Well, the thing about
I have no idea.
The thing about Ilya though is that she's a chameleon.
Yeah, she needs to be a redemption. Like, it wouldn't work. You'd have to completely rework the character. So like, I don't think it would have worked. But like, could have been a work, or they could have done something maybe.
So it's funny you mentioned reworking the character and everything, because they're I mentioned his name before, Celtic Phoenix. He is a you know, the guy when I was talking about the Vic Mignogna situation, and why by the time we get to volume 7 he's gonna be recasted as, or Crow's going to be recasted. He has actually been working on a How to Fix RWBY series for the last like 8 years, I think. And yeah, and he and they're like all like 4 or 5 hour long videos too, like to fix like the lore establishment, character development, what should have happened. Like, and one of his reworks was that it should have been Roman should have survived. Osmond should have stayed dead. However, Osmond reincarnates into Roman.
Characters Roman.
Interesting.
Right?
The redhead, Kane, and the one that usually stays around Neo. And the one that got eaten by the big bird in Volume 3.
Oh, Torchic.
Torchic, yeah. Torchic.
Right. I guess I just forgot his full name because they would just call him like Torchic.
We'll just call him Torchic from now on because it's funnier that way. I mean, how, what, the whole thing about Ozpin reincarnating as Torchic, I'm not sure I agree with that particular point of view.
Kind of a random poll.
I'm sure there is like a setup to explain this.
Is it only because they both have canes? Because it's like that's just kind of like.
I don't know. I have not like watched it all fully myself because like I said, he's been doing this for like over 8 years with hours long videos with a bunch of artists he's collabed with. One of them being my ex.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So like my ex is like tight knit in that creative group, and I don't want to talk about it because this is like none of my business, but she's been having creative issues with somebody in that group that she's been having issues with for years now, and has actually started to finally progress positively in her favor. But that's neither here nor there. That's just me just saying. But yeah, I don't know the full story of like why Roman, or at least I don't remember why Roman was the reincarnation or the next reincarnation of Osmond. But it was an interesting idea, and a lot of the things that Celtic did also changed a lot of certain lore factors as well. Like he kept like the Faunus, for example, he kept a lot of what happened with the Faunus intact, but the thing is that when it comes to wanting to demonstrate inequality and racism and other icky factors like that, like you can't really shy away from it. Like you just can't. Otherwise, you're doing yourself a disservice, and you're doing the people you're trying to represent a disservice as well. Which is
kind of like a show don't tell kind of situation. Like,
and that's what RWBY in general suffers from when it comes to their Faunus plot points, and it's sad that by the time we get to Volume 6, any and all Faunus plot points that have regards to discrimination towards Faunus or the allegories of like IRL racism is just handled poorly and inconsistently as well. Like for example, talking about Ilya again. Ilya was got to go to Atlas Academy because she passed for human, and so she would not get discriminated or bullied by, right? But like what caused her to turn to the White Fang was both her parents died in a mining accident, because that's what a lot of Faunus were being used for, was as expendable miners for dust expeditions.
More so the Shinee Dust Company usually.
Yep, employed by the Shinee Dust Company, and that allowed Ilya to go to Atlas Academy, but she had to like hide being a Faunus, which was slowly second nature to her at that point. However, goddamn trains.
Oh, good. First, he decided to follow along.
She'd get in. Like, yeah, she pretends to be a human, but like, if this racism stuff is so bad, like they'd have to meet her parents, right?
I'm not quite sure. It doesn't seem that way, like, given the fact that
because the parents pay for it, right? They'll be like, "Hey, we want to enroll our daughter. Like, you're Faunus, get the fuck out."
I think they don't really explain it, but I think she might have had like fake papers to get in.
Okay.
But
so they just maybe they had like a human friend who like did them a solid. Like, yeah, I'll help you sneak her in.
Basically, I think that's what my assumption would be. But like, get into the back to the topic at hand. This is where I'm gonna try talking about the inconsistency of it, and I have to reestablish why like Ilya joined the White Fang, because like she joined White Fang because her parents died in the mining accident. But she went to Atlas Academy, which is very not friendly to non-humans. So faunists were like pretty much going to be have a big target on their back when it comes to discrimination and bullying, right? Well, she had to fit in by pretending not to be faunist, and she passed for human. Got that. But it wasn't until when her parents died in that mining accident that she ended up revealing that she was a faunist, because when hearing about the news of that accident, all the preppy girls that she pretended to be friends with all laughed at the misfortune of all those who had lost their lives in that accident, which caused Ilya to go mad, turn red literally, and break their fucking teeth, as she describes it. Based indeed. Here's the issue though. When it comes to inconsistency, when it comes to Atlas, when it comes to their show Don't Tell, is and here comes another fucking train. God damn it.
They're busy today.
Apparently, I don't know why. It's a fucking...
Maybe everyone's going home after Cinco de Mayo.
Okay, that was funny.
I mean, if families are coming to visit to like party, maybe they're like going home. I don't know.
I don't know, but anyways, so do you remember Volume 3, who Weiss and Yang fought in their tag team round of the tournament?
Who fought who?
Yang and Weiss.
Can you repeat that, please? Yang and Weiss.
Who did they fight in their duo tag tournament?
Wasn't it like the green-haired girl and like her
No, that was
guy friend?
That was Coco and Yasuhashi.
Okay.
I'll tell you, they're from Atlas Academy, and pay attention to that. Atlas Academy.
Don't remember. I don't remember the one-off characters they fought.
They're based off of memes.
Memes?
Old classic memes. You remember the Pop-Tart cat? Neon Cat?
Neon Cat?
Yes.
Oh, is it Doot Doot and like Skater Girl?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. It was the fedora trumpet dude.
Okay. I thought they were like in a 4v4. That's why I was confused.
No,
no, you're right. It was a 2v2. I remember.
At this point, it was narrowed down to 2v2. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, so that's the inconsistency there, because normally when you go to the Vital Festival tournament, you bring in your best students, and then okay, that makes sense to represent your academies. Then you have those students, but at the same time, with how Atlas is supposed to be the discriminatory school of all four schools, you have apparently a free-spirited faunus cat girl be a representation of Atlas Academy. And I'm just like, that is not Atlas. Because that's a cool distinction, but at the same time, that doesn't show that there's faunus discrimination. It's like one of the most...
Maybe times have changed. No, times would have changed because the lizard girl's young.
Yes, exactly. And she would have technically been at the same school as Neon Cat around the same time as well.
All right, maybe Atlas does enroll faunus, where it's like kind of accepting in that fact, but just like it's basically everyone's just really racist and like rude and bully everyone. So I'm gonna pretend to be human so I'm not bullied, and then when she reveals herself, they just like basically betray their friendship and just like, oh, cringe, you're a lizard girl.
It's more or less they let them in, but make sure to keep them on a very tight leash and keep an eye on them so they don't pull any stunts.
Probably. Like, well, we're gonna pretend to be progressive and have like diverse human and like faunus or whatever, but then they're just like really judgy and racist to them.
I haven't watched the seasons where they're in Atlas Academy, so I'm not quite sure of what it's like in terms of the faunus discrimination. But I will say that by the time we get to Volume 6 and the downfall of Adam, they kind of get rid of any form of faunus discrimination going forward after that. They just do. They're like, it's no longer existing.
I guess maybe this whole thing with like Taurus is just basically like a Blake arc, and it's like the actual like faunus situation isn't really relevant after they finished that plot beat, because this was just like to like character development for like Blake, like, oh my god, I used to be in a gang with him and like I have trauma, and now she basically what got over her like trauma and fears and like defeated him, and now her arc is done, and so they don't need to like bring up the whole fauna situation anymore. Because like I don't know if the bad guys aren't gonna be able to work with the White Fang anymore, so like we're probably just not gonna see the White Fang at all anymore. So there's like no really reason to like bring it up.
Basically, which just kind of turns into where they kind of assassinate Adam's character and just have him become well, he kind of did already become one, but he leans more into becoming just a praise obsessed evil ex-boyfriend, basically, more or less.
I will say, compared to like the fall of Beacon and their attempt, well, this is like Haven, right?
Yes.
Like their attempt to like take down Haven, like Beacon, it was like really more extreme. There's like a lot of chaos. It seemed like it was really well planned out. While the takedown of like Haven was just like, okay, we're gonna have like 5 White Fangs and we're just gonna place bombs everywhere. Like that's very small scale.
Exactly.
I guess the whole point was just to be a distraction to steal the MacGuffin, but like
the relic, yeah. I think that's the main thing, because with Beacon, they want to basically take over Beacon so they could find the relic, because it was hidden much better within Beacon than it was in Haven. Well, Haven, it wasn't very hidden at all, and they had an inside man basically telling them where it was.
Yeah, I know, but it's just like, but they kind of like multitasked when they took down Beacon, where it's basically they stole the thing, but they stole the thing or tried to steal the thing, but they also like made a message where it's like, oh look, or here's what we believe in, like the flaws with society or whatever, like the Beacon kids kill the robot girl from Atlas, and like, oh, everyone sucks, or to cause chaos and like piss off the Grim with all the fear or whatever, while like Haven's just like 5 guys and a couple bombs. That's no message, no nothing. They're just gonna, like, how are they gonna know it's them? Because no one knows there's a MacGuffin under the school. So like, it's just a bombing and that's it. Yeah. I don't know. Like the other one is just like there was bombs, there was like teenager murders and robots being hacked and shit. Like them hacking the TV, doing their like little villain speeches. It's just like, this is just like, this is very small scale.
Yeah, and that's one of the other issues, is that they downsized, and I think that might be because of the limitations that they had with going from Poser to the Maya programs when it comes to animation, because they downsize, if you notice, a lot, especially when it comes to like their fight scenes and whatnot, because like if you pay attention to the fight scenes in the first 3 volumes, they're very widescreened, and the camera's pulled back enough so you can encompass every single action that is being taken place. Whereas with post Monty Ohm going into Maya, it's very up close, personal, little bit claustrophobic depending on how you look at it, but it's still like good camera angles too, and that's why I like the behind the scenes where like that. This is how this fight scene set up. Here's the camera that's tracking all their movements. You know, that those cool like 360 angles and all that, and like that's cool. That was really cool. That's very well made. The issue is that it still doesn't feel as compelling when it came to like the first 3 seasons of RWBY when it came to their fight scenes, and it's just gonna be like that going forward. By the way, just letting you know.
Like my theory of why it's kind of like everything kind of seems like less stakes and less action is, I'm kind of wondering, is like the early seasons they basically were like a couple guys in a dream, and they basically had to cut a lot of corners. But because they cut a lot of corners with animations, they had enough. They focused on the action more, because like they had like stuff like low rendered backgrounds, PNGs, no background characters. They could focus animating the fights and the story. While this one looks more visually more like a show where there's more sets, there's more background characters, everything's rendered nicely. So like there's more of a budget, but there's not enough, but it's also like not enough budget to like make it the action as cool as the other season, because they have to like focus on a bunch of things rather than the one small things from the earlier seasons.
And that's going to be a recurring issue you will be noticing going forward, because all the fight scenes will be like lackluster in comparison to previous seasons.
It's like a budget balancing thing where yes, it has a bigger budget to make the show look more like a TV show, but they also have less time maybe to animate fights and stuff, or budget to do that. And maybe like a rendering thing, because like Menagerie, there's like tons of background characters. That's a lot of time to animate and like render probably.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not sure. I don't remember if they still use mocap for smaller animations just to speed up the process. But yeah, rendering that many models at once with mocap animation mixed in, because with the animation, they have to render not only the model itself, but also each animation frame bit by bit. And with each movement, there's more for it to render. So
yeah, and it's like you have to design. I know they have shortcuts for like background characters, animations, and character designs, but you still have to like make all these character designs. You have to model all the different locations and sets, and then the time it takes to render. There's a lot of like things that are gonna like make it like less time to like do like cool fight animation. So they basically have to like balance everything to make the show work. So where it looks good, but they have to like basically they had to shift what stuff they have to cut corners on. Like the others, like the previous seasons, they cut corners on backgrounds and characters, while this one has to cut corners on the action, like fluid animations.
Well, I mean, the images are still somewhat fluid, but they're just
I know. I mean, like
high definition.
But fluid, I mean, like the action, or like the action's not as like impressive and a little stiffer.
Yeah.
But like normal like characters standing around and talking, the animation's really good. They're very fluid.
And that's kind of the thing. They wanted to shift focus from high impact action with, this almost like DBZ level of jumping around, power struggle and such, to more calmer exposition filled scenes with not much happening at once, not only to save on time but also to allow for more smoother animation and facial expressions with the new engine, and I guess to help establish more of the world, which is fine, but you gotta balance exposition, exploration, and action. If you focus on one and leave the rest to be minimal effort, people are going to get bored and going to want the others. And if you focus all on, say, action, people are going to get burnt down, just want to calm down. So
yeah,
which is why I think when RWBY did the first 3 volumes with Monty, I think they balanced it out quite well. Whereas when you go into post Monty with the Maya program system, like you said, like there's more exposition, and then it leads into the whole problem where they talk or they tell more than they show, with like example the faunus, and then it just becomes like lackluster, and you really don't believe that there is a faunus issue when there's so many equality-esque happenings with, like, schools allowing faunus to attend. Yes, all the things that had anything to do with the faunus, I know we're keep going back to the faunus, but like it's one of the major plot points within the world of RWBY that they just yada yada, and then by the time they get to volume 7, it's just gone. It dissipates. It didn't just like slow down or diminish. It just stopped. But
it was like not really like a story it's basically like it's not like oh, this is where the story is going, and we're gonna focus on like fixing what's going on with the fauna. So it was more of like this is Blake's backstory and Blake's character motivation, and then once their arc's done, they just like, all right, we're done with that. It's not important. It was only important because it's part of Blake's character.
Yeah, and it's just a disservice. And
Mhm.
and on top of that, like all the faunus discrimination that's been talked about throughout the entire series, you want to know the only
Mhm.
time I remember any sort of faunus discrimination ever happening ever was
The bunny girl getting her ears pulled.
a bunny girl getting her Velvet getting her ears pulled all the way back in volume 1,
Mhm.
and 5 years ago. So and we had many seasons to this point for them to actually show Don't Tell, and they just
Mhm.
like, nah, we're just gonna like insinuate or have you guys use your imagination for like what happened. Like, no, that is not
Mhm.
something we to have your
Leave
your
up to viewer
audience to,
interpretation.
yeah, your audience is not your writers. We're not gonna fill in
Mhm.
the gaps for you. Otherwise, you're just gonna have us be speculating on
Mhm.
an MLK Tiger Man, or no, not Tiger, a Lion Man versus an Malcolm X. I don't want to say Panther, but Black Panther Society, but and then again, Gear was a Panther, so.
Mhm. It kind of reminds me of like how like in Harry Potter they just like they mention about the concept of like muggle-born wizards and like how like Hermione is what they call like a mudblood.
Yeah.
And like they like there's like one scene where they like bring it up and Malfoy's being basically offensive and then it's just never brought up ever again.
Not entirely true, but the one or two other times it's brought up, it's brought up for like 3 seconds and immediately thrown away. At least in the
Yeah.
film. The books, they establish it a
Alright.
much,
I bet
much more.
Yeah. It's
But
kind of
yeah,
like that, but at least with like RWBY, they like delve in it a lot more because we get a lot like the way Fang has been like a main antagonist. So like, but like, yeah, just kind of like we bring it up and then like we never show it again.
Yep, and it's such a significant plot point throughout the first 3 volumes of RWBY as well. It was like, why is the White Fauna teaming up with a human? Oh, it's because this
Yep.
human is lined up with Salem's henchmen, and so they are all planning the invasion of Beacon, and they're gonna be teaming up more for a lot more shenanigans in the future. And that's, and on top of that, that's also why Adam killed Sienna, so the White Fang could keep on teaming up with Salem to wipe out humanity virtually, basically. And
It's it's kind of wild. Like, why wasn't there like a side villain who was or antagonist who was just like heavily against the Faunist? Because it kind of just seems like the whole show is just kind of victim blaming, where it's like, oh my god, everyone's racist to us, but the only bad guys are the ones who are being like, who are the victims. So like, I feel like there need to be a villain on both sides. So like, if we're gonna be talking about this topic, we need an antagonist, so that way we can be like, all right, Taurus, he's in the wrong, but you can understand his motives because the other bad guy is also fucked up and he needs to be taken out.
yeah.
But like, you know what I mean? Like, it kind of goes to like victim blame because we only see the Faunus doing bad stuff, and that's like that's kind of fucked up.
yeah, and so and that's why going into volume 6, the people at Rooster Teeth realized they fucked up with handling Sienna Khan bad, like by killing her off, basically literally the same fucking scene that they introduce her in. But they quite literally make a trailer similar to like the Weiss and Yang and Blake trailers going to volume 5 called and it's more so about Adam Taurus and his descent into his own madness. And it has a badass song and it's named Lionize too. And honestly, the song Lionize is also, if you listen to the song and pay attention to the lyrics, it also is a good storytelling narrative device of Adam's plight with humanity. And so, cool. That's about it. That's about it. They only do the one instance of like humans doing bad, even though it's not really bad, because like if you'll understand what I mean when we watch the Lionize trailer. because like the White Fang, when I think this is when Sienna starts first taking over the White Fang in Gira's place, and they they attack a caravan and take their goods, and then one of the humans tries to shoot Sienna in the back, and then Adam was forced to kill him in self-defense to protect Sienna.
Like, my brain is kind of whirling right now. Like, what I think they should have done. So I think now that I'm thinking about this whole concept of like the Faunus, they should have had this season take place in Atlas instead of Haven, right? And have Weiss's father trying to do something really fucked up and discriminatory to like Faunus. So that way you have Blake's POV on Menagerie trying to mess with the White Fang, and then you have Weiss like, hey, my friend's a Faunus. What you're doing is fucked up.
And
so then, like, the end, both of them can have an arc where they stop their respective bad guys.
And you're
so we could see, so you could see like what the Faunus are fighting for. The people like Shmi.
You're right. They should have done that, but they don't, and they just dropped the whole thing entirely.
It would have given Weiss something to do, because Weiss' story was pretty good, but she's basically just hanging out in her father's mansion and then running away. Nothing really narratively happens.
Yeah, nothing significant.
Aside from giving her something to fight against.
I mean, they do evolve her character to pretty much saying, fuck my family, I want to get back to my team because it seems like I'm not welcome here. And she does grow as a character to the point where she can do something she didn't think she could do that makes it so she's no longer the, how can I put this, the prissy heiress that she used to be in the past few seasons, and now has become her own person, more or less.
Well, see,
so I'm just like, they could have had like him be like, "Oh, all Faunus are bad. See, the White Fang proves my point. The Faunus are bad." And then at the end, when Blake stops the Faunus with her army of Faunus or whatever, and they stop the White Fang, then it would basically be like, "See, the Faunus aren't the problem. They're just a splinter group, and we could all work together to save everyone."
That was basically the conflict between Weiss and Blake back in Volume.
It would be great for Weiss's. I know it would be great for Weiss's character arc of her grown of like being kind of prejudiced against Faunus, and to grow like, hey, they're actually the victims here, and I was an asshole, and I'm gonna try and fix that and fix the Weiss family name. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like you already introduced Shmi. Why not? And he's already a piece of shit. Why not like give him like narrative relevance where he's like that like relates to like Blake's arc?
Shmi or Jacques? Are you talking about Weiss's father?
Yeah, Weiss's father.
Jacques.
That's Jacques. That's not Shmi.
Well, they never said his real last name. I know he took the last name.
Well, it's first off, it's Schnee, not Shmi. Schnee.
Schnee.
Yes.
Schnee, not
Shmi.
Schnee.
No, it's not Schnee like Captain Hook's second in command. Although now I kind of want Schnee to be in
I'm calling it Shmi because it's funny. You know what they should have done? They should have made him Shmi from Captain Hook, all right? And have him have a secret affair with Hook.
So speaking of secret affairs, what's kind of interesting is that this goes back to the fan theory subject of why Adam hates humans so much, and how it could have been handled properly, of how badly, well, I don't know how handled this would have been, but like how badly the Faunus would have been treated was like, you know, they were treated like slaves, for example. And what a lot of people did with back in the 1800s with their slaves was that they got with them. And so that's why a lot of biracial people exist now, is because a long time ago, people back on their plantations got with their slaves. And because of that, you had biracial kids and things like that. So there's a fan theory going on of why Adam hates. I don't know how much else I can say, because it is a bit of a significant plot point later in, well, not really, like interesting reveal, I should say, when it comes to Adam,
Mm-hmm.
where there's a reason why he wears his mask all the time, or a mask all the time, I should say, because he does take it off in Volume 6, where I don't know how much to say this. It's kind of a spoiler, kind of not a spoiler. Oh, got a bot in chat.
Kill it.
Let's just say that the reason for Adam's hatred of humans is more physical than psychological.
I want to know how I got these scars.
Yes, that's it. He has got a scar on his face, okay?
Yeah.
And so there's a fan theory about that where like Weiss's mom would have been one of those people who got with their quote unquote slaves and ended up having Adam, but because no wife of mine's gonna have a faunus child, then just mistreat the fuck out of that illegitimate son of the Schnee company. And that would actually be
Just Prince Zuko.
pretty much. And
He's just Prince Zuko.
pretty much.
More or less.
More or
No,
less.
it's like he's literally Zuko.
But that also, what I brought up would have also been an interesting plot point where like you have like the illegitimate son to the Schnee Dust Company being mistreated, mishandled, and abused constantly. So like the wrongful heir of the Schnee Company would have just kept usurping that bloodline of the quote unquote Schnee bloodline. But there's a lot. It has a lot of plot holes. I know it does.
Yeah.
But it's something I kind of get and understand, and would make sense of why both he's mentally tormented and through a painful trauma-filled backstory that we never get to see. By the way, we never get to fully see his backstory. We get a hint at it, and it's behind his mask, but we never get to see it fully. So it makes you raise even more questions and want to dive a little bit more into his character. Nope, we're not. But by the time we get to Volume 6, they dump his character.
But again, his whole character is just like he's only relevant to Blake's character. Like he's just there to push her character arc. He's not really important.
Yeah, but they could have made him important, I guess.
Like they could have, yeah, but like I guess how they're like writing, well, how their direction they wanted to go is like he's just there to help push Blake's character arc, and once her arc is done and she's basically better now, they don't really need him.
That's
like
another issue with Monty. He tried to give every single major character, at the very least, some spotlight. With post Monty RWBY, it's like, let's focus on only the characters who are actually going to progress the plot. Anyone who isn't going to progress the plot, give them like 2% effort and then throw them in the trash, which is a shame because there are so many characters past season 7 that I wish were given more attention and more spotlight on them, but it never happened, and it's
Oh, like the character, like the special task force in Atlas, those guys. Oh, that's another thing too. The special Atlas task force has a faunus on their team, so that even makes even less sense of why there's why Atlas is quoted as the most racially discriminatory of faunus.
The season really should have been about Atlas. Like, it would have fit narratively well for both Blake and Weiss. And also, even the lizard girl, she went to a school in Atlas, and her parents died in a Schnee mine. So, like, they could add to the character, like, I don't want to go back there and help them. You crazy?
And I guess
there's so many narrative things that would have way better if this season just took place in Atlas. It could have been exactly the same, except the difference is Weiss has something to do.
And I like how you mentioned that, and I think this is actually a good segue to actually get back to like the overall topic at hand, going for like the overview. So like, so after the events of Volume 4, we see that all the kids in Team Junior / Ranger are basically trying to. It's kind of like what I said before. Why they left in the first place is to continue their studies to get their huntsman and hunter's licenses, and they end up getting with Uncle Crow tagging along the way, and Uncle Crow gets poisoned, and we. It's sort of, it was originally left open ended, unless you watch the end credit scene of if Crow makes it or not. But my ex that I mentioned before actually got into an argument with somebody on Facebook once of like, oh, they're and she was like, oh, they're not gonna kill off Crow, they're just not. And then she got into an argument with some random guy like, oh, they're not afraid to kill characters like they killed Pyrrha and Penny and rah 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 rah. And my girlfriend, my ex-girlfriend was just, well, the Crow just is so popular. They're not gonna do him in like that, especially on like his second season being in RWBY. They're just not.
Like, you can't kill Mr. Exposition, and how are they gonna know what's going on?
Exactly.
Oscar's just gonna show up and be like, "Yo, I'm Austin." Like, how the fuck do we believe you?
Exactly.
It's like Axel in Kingdom Hearts. He was such a fan favorite character in Enchanted Memories and in 2 that they literally thought, nah, let's change up how everything works, make it so we can bring Axel back because he's such a favorite character. They even referenced it in Case 3 with him saying, do you know how popular I am? I got loads of people rooting for me. Like, they knew. They broke the fourth wall to make that joke, and we were so happy that they did because it's true.
So
anyway.
And so basically, this was
there's like a difference between like Pyrrha and Penny. They're just kind of like friend characters. Crow is literally Mr. Exposition Dump. Like, you can't really kill him, like, right away at least.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So after that argument between my ex and that guy happened, the entirety of Volume 5 came out, and so and the entirety of Volume. No, wait. The rest of Volume 4 came out. I'm sorry. And the end credit scene revealed that Crow survived. He's healthy again. And so she quite literally went digging months back in her notifications to find that conversation with this guy just to say, I told you so.
And it's one of those things, if a character gets poisoned and is poisoned for like an episode or two, they're probably not going to die. If you're going to kill a character off, you're going to kill him off like really quick. You're just going to do it. Like, poison is like, okay, there's hope he'll survive. If there's hope he'll survive, they're not going to die. Like, Petty was just sudden. Pyrrha was just sudden. Crow, he's poisoned. We got to carry him for 2 episodes of City. They're not going to have several episodes where they carry a dying man only for him to die.
Yeah.
Like, that's just like a waste of screen time and kind of fucked up. Like, we're gonna kill off a beloved character, but slowly, so the audience is like are in agony.
Imagine like him animating his fight scene with Tyrion just like to kill him off. Not even like a direct stab with his stinger either. It's just like graze. But yeah, so we get into Volume 5 with basically picking up with where they left off in the end credit scene a little bit, actually just a tad before that end credit scene, because they meet finally the last Cabal member of Osmond's inner circle, the Cowardly Lion, Leonardo Lionheart, the headmaster of Haven Academy. And when they first enter the academy, they immediately notice like how quiet it is and how lacking there's any students or staff throughout the facilities. And that was also one of the major things too, is that they kind of like took away the fear factor. Like, they kind of justifiably make sense for it of like, oh, it's just to make things easier, just because it's just gonna be go in, go out. White Fang blows up the towers and makes it seem like they attacked Haven Academy, and both ruins the communication system even across the world of Remnant even more, and they make out with the relic while also destroying another academy on top of that. So it's gonna be like
Wow,
win,
they're
win,
making
win,
out with
win.
relics now. Kinky.
Yep. But yeah, that's basically the gist of it, of why like there's like kind of the lazy aspect of it. Like they narratively make justify it, but at the same time they they did it just so they'd want to have to animate shit.
Mm.
And then on the B plot side of things, you have Yang and Weiss going on their own little adventure. Weiss leaving home, and Yang also leaving home but going after her sister.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Then Yang eventually goes to find her mother. Mama Raven is a bird, literally, and
Bird is the word.
the bird is the word,
The
and
mama bird.
and basically tries to have Yang join the Bronwyn bandit tribe. You know, because she's technically the bandit princess if you think about it.
Yeah.
But she refuses. Apparently Weiss is there because during the crash of her ship that was taking her to Mistral, they her her body gets kidnapped, and basically that's how Yang and Weiss reunite, is through sheer fucking coincidence.
Mm-hmm. He's like, I know you have fast travel, bitch.
Yes, then
I ain't backtracking. Just teleport me there.
yes, and then Raven can just open portals for others to travel through that have ties to people she is close to, like her brother, her ex-husband, and her daughter. If I remember correctly, there should be like another one, but I don't remember who it is. And basically Yang fucks off and goes to visit Crow and reunites with RWBY. And yeah. And then on top of that, there's also a C plot of trying to hunt down the Spring Maiden. Where a lot of times Raven is wearing a mask for some reason, and you don't know why. But it gets revealed later on when she has Vernal be her stand-in when it comes to being the Spring Maiden. And so Cinder, Emerald, Mercury, and Watts find Raven, pretty much say, hey, I know you got the Spring Maiden, but like, can you like give her power to us or something, bro? Or at least help us unlock the vault for the relic. And she reluctantly has to agree, only on her terms, and then they basically form a weird alliance with one another.
I know we don't like each other. We're both bags. Can we team up?
Yes. And then kind of like a
shake hands with fingers crossed behind their back.
Yeah. And then I guess there's the D plot. Like, there's so many fucking subplots to this. There's the D plot with Menagerie and Adam Torres, where Adam Torres is now the leader of the White Fang after killing Sienna Khan, as we mentioned. Thankfully, they do that like a little bit early in the season, rather than just like, I don't know, like halfway through or like towards the end. That would have sucked if they did it that way. I think that would have actually been worse now I think about it. Then we have Adam trying to have Blake's family assassinated, because they're like the only ones with any political power that could actually stand up and protest against the current regime of the White Fang as we know it, especially being led by Adam.
It's kind of funny that so like the scene where like the lizard girl's trying to distract Blake and kidnap her for Adam, and then like meanwhile the other White Fangs go like try and kill their parents. Like after that scene where they find out like, oh no, they're after my parents, we gotta go back to my house. And then when it just cuts to like their like kitchen table, and then you see gunshots in the background, I was like, oh shit! Imagine if it like with the credits after that.
You know what? It should have done that. That would have been actually a good way, like, to have the cliffhanger on that.
That would have been fucking dark, just showing like a random piece of furniture with gunshots in the distance.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh shit, that's fucking jarring. Like 1 to 100. We got to go back and save them real quick, and it cuts like gunshots. Like, oh, they're already dead. But then it showed they're alive. I'm like, oh, okay. But like, if it cut right there, or just cut to a different character, that would have been so dark and funny to me.
Oh yeah, yeah. See, and then, like I said, they have like so many like missed opportunities to do stuff like that. They just, but yeah, White Fang are ransacking the Belladonna household, and Kali releases her semblance of the dining tray. The memes from that when that first scene first came out was hilarious. And one of the Fox twins dies in the ensuing battles, and basically this is used to help light a flame of inspiration to prove a point that not all humans are bad and not all faunus are good, and pretty much proves a point that the White Fang needs to be stopped. And so now they have volunteers to go to Haven Academy to assist their fellow brethren and humans.
Kind of unrelated, but my head canon is those two White Fang wolf guys. They're like the fox and the cat from Disney's Pinocchio. That's my head canon.
Other foxes. They're both foxes.
Yeah, but like, my head canon is they're like those the foxes from Pinocchio, where they're like, oh, you want to go to Pleasure Island?
That actually would make sense, seeing how they're deceivers. But yeah,
They're like, oh, we're good guys. You can trust us. You want to like join our group?
You want to join our cult?
Yeah.
well,
That's just my head canon. I know it's probably not what they were thinking, but my head canon is the foxes from Pinocchio.
Actually, they might be now that you mention it. Actually, might have to look them up real quick. But then after that, this is when basically everyone starts assembling. Avengers assemble. And goddamn, another fucking train's coming.
Here it comes. It's like the meme. Here it comes.
Here it comes. What is the trivia behind the Fox brothers? Fennec and his brother allude to Tabaki from the Jungle Book. Tabaki was a jackal that fed on scraps from the Shere Khan and wolves.
Okay, so they're like a deep cut reference. Those aren't even like usually in adaptations to Jungle Book movies.
Yep.
And the thing about
when were they cut in movies? I've never even heard of those characters.
another thing to point out for the Fox brothers is that they were actually characters that they wanted to introduce back in Volume 1. They just didn't know how to do it. Yeah, because the Albanes were planned to pre-Volume 1 and were intended to be the original antagonists of the volume before Roman Torchwick was fully expanded upon for his role as a character.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I guess they would have worked as like henchmen, but like I don't see how they would have fitted in Season 1, so I could see why they were like saved for this one.
Yeah. And then they just kill off one of the brothers anyways. And then we never see the other brother again.
Oh, he's probably pissed, or in like Faunus jail.
Yeah, he's probably in Faunus jail, but we literally never see him again.
Do they even have a Faunus jail? 'Cause this island's so crowded, I don't think there'd be room.
Maybe they just put him in the desert.
Maybe you're badish. Go in the desert.
Um, and basically, everyone is assembled. Everyone heads to Beacon Academy, or I'm sorry, Haven Academy, and pretty much this is where shit hits the ceiling fan. Or I'm sorry, I also forgot to talk about how Ozpin gets reintroduced inside of being reincarnated inside of Oscar's body, where he reveals a lot of significant plot details and world building details as well, where he has been cursed with the ability to reincarnate by the gods for thousands of years. On top of that, he is also the wizard that gave the original four maidens their magical abilities. On top of that, it's so you know how we do the World of Remnant videos, and they pretty much give you like lore details like of the world around.
Mm-hmm.
So when they were talking about the Great War, the King of Vale had a green silhouette. Do you want to know that? You want me to tell you that was actually Ozpin as well?
Damn.
Yeah. So whenever you see like a green silhouette in the World of Remnant videos, that is Ozpin actually. That is actually a big mindfuck too, because he was part of the Great War. He also was also the Great Wizard that gave the original four maidens their abilities, and this is where it gets a little fucky too when you get into it, because the four maidens was the last broad idea Monty made before he died, but the relics themselves don't make any sense because
What are the relics actually? I don't really think they explained it well.
The-
They're just like doomsday device.
the relics are the physical manifestations of choice, destruction, creation, and wisdom.
Oh yeah, the gods made them or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, they're just infinity stones, but like different themes.
Basically. And it's, how do I explain this? I think they were implemented after Monty died, because I don't think that they were the idea of Monty afterwards, because like that's because even back then, like, why would the wizard gift four random girls that helped him have a new spark of life and hope, only to like, yeah, I'm only gonna give you power so so you can just be keys to these like artifacts I have locked away in my basement. That's it. That's it. That's all. That's the only reason I'm giving you powers. But it's like that
Kind of makes the story seem like it's a lie. Where it's like, oh, you were so kind to me, I'm gonna give you a gift. It's like, no, it wasn't a gift. He made them his employees.
basically, and so that's why again, it's like it's where like you can tell like what could you would probably think is Monty's idea versus what is likely Rooster Teeth's idea of things. And it just doesn't make any sense either, because, you know, what came first, the chicken or the egg? Because you guys came up with the relics after the maidens were established. And like, okay, that makes sense to have the maidens be keys to unlock the vaults to get these relics, but that was not the original idea of why Ozpin gave the girls those magical powers in the first place. No.
Kind of feels like maybe it happened after the fact. Like, oh, I'm gonna give you magical powers, and then maybe they discovered the relics like after a bunch of adventures, being friends together, maybe. Or maybe this is given to like later reincarnations, where like, hey, you're the reincarnation of this wall maiden. I need your help.
We'll find out why Ozpin was that old wizard in cabin in the middle of nowhere, and how he was basically loss of words and not really he being a big pessimist until those four maidens pretty much convinced him to come out of his shed and have a newfound view of life. We'll find out why in volume 6, and we also find out why in volume 6 why Raven in Volume 5 kept on saying that fighting against Salem is a losing battle.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so like that's why a lot of very significant plot details for the world of RWBY is going to be revealed in Volume 6, because we get introduced to probably one of the laziest set of gods ever in fiction. And on top of that, and inconsistent, I should say, as well. And then very critical plot detail of... by the way, the relic that they get at the end of Volume 5 is going to be used in Volume 6. And do you remember the statue that it's hiding under? That elevator?
Yeah.
That's gonna come back as well. I will tell you that now. It will come back in Volume 6.
Does the elevator do another thing other than elevating?
Not so much the elevator, what the statue / secret elevator is sculpted after.
Okay. You know, one thing that's weird about Ozpin to me is that, like, during like season 3, I believe, with like the Fall of Beacon, they introduced the concept of the matings and a device that's like a body swapping device, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why couldn't they have just said that like they did kill Ozpin, but last second someone like Goodwitch stuffed them into the machine and found like some random victim from like all the destruction and stuck him in the other one, and then just put his brain into him, and then the kid wakes up in the rubble and then goes home, and then that's how Ozpin is in his body. Like, why? Like, where did this reincarnation curse bullshit come from? When you have a machine that basically does that, or is the machine like based on his powers? Like, oh, I have this power of reincarnation. That gives me the idea. I want to study it with science and recreate it.
The reincarnation gets explained as well in Volume 6. But the machine that you're referring to is something that they wanted to create as an alternative to transfer the essence of Amber, the Fall Maiden at the time, into a proper host.
Yes, I know.
Because like if she dies, then the power's likely going to go to Cinder.
I know.
So
it's kind of, they said it's like a body swap machine though, because they said like you're basically gonna lose your mind and this person's mind is gonna be basically in your body with their powers.
I want to say
because that's why it was the big thing of Pierre's like, I don't know if I want to do it because I'm basically killing myself.
It's not so much like normal body swapping, it's more like essence transfer, or like transferring your soul.
It's like conscious soul merge. It's basically kind of like that, merging their souls, and they basically become like, the Fall Maiden soul will be kind of dominant, but like Pierre will still be in there, and it'll be like a blend of the two. But that's basically what happened with Ozpin and Oscar. And it's like, why not just do that instead of introducing another concept out of nowhere?
Because post Monty Roosterteeth, because post Monty Roosterteeth. Because
heck, you could even say that like Ozpin's been doing this for years, and that's why he's immortal. He just steals bodies. Because it would be kind of cool if they made Ozpin like, okay, he's not actually a wizard. He's more of like a mad scientist in a way. Because like in Wizard of Oz, the wizard's a fake. He's more of like a scientist circus guy. So like they could have like Ozpin's basically did a bunch of experiments on people years ago. So he's kind of perceived as a wizard.
That would be an interesting twist. Not gonna lie, but I will tell you that's not going to be the case.
I know it's not, but like I just kind of like, RWBY seems to like introducing stuff out of nowhere when they already have stuff they could just use. Like how I mentioned, like, why isn't RWBY just one of the matings? They just kind of introduced Silver Eyes out of nowhere. Why doesn't Ozpin just body swap with the machine instead of introducing reincarnation out of nowhere?
It didn't really necessarily introduce Silver Eyes out of nowhere, because back in Volume 1, in like the first episode even, Ozpin meets RWBY for the first time and is like, you have silver eyes. But he never elaborates on that.
It's like one... It's again, like, it's like one... It's like... That's just like... that could just be anything. Like heck, maybe the silver eyes are a feature of a fall maiden.
You're still on that, aren't
Like why
you?
introduce two magical? Why introduce two magical people? I don't know. Just I don't think the fall maidens needed to exist, or you could have made the fall maidens the same as Silver Eyes, so that way it fits with Ruby as the main character being important to the plot.
Silver Eyes, basically anything that you're like asking, Dakota, I will tell you now that you, because like Silver Eyes also gets answered and what the fuck they are and what they represent in Volume 6 as well.
I know it's good. I know it's gonna be like explained. I understand that because of course it's gonna be explained. It's part of the story now. I'm just saying all this stuff didn't need to be introduced, or they could have been like combined so that to streamline the lore and plot to like all connect a little better instead of just introducing things out of nowhere.
Honestly, that's very good, valid points. The issue is that if you were to have given those same criticisms to Rooster Teeth, like when Volume 4 and no, Volume 5 came out, or you just be criticized back. You just be like, a
lot of stuff is just so samey that you could just say it's the same thing. Like the the soul swap machine, and like the Fall Maidens and Silver Eyes. You just could combine the two, and the story would still make sense instead of introducing more lore.
But we like lore.
Yeah, I know I like lore, but like, why not like enrich the lore we already have instead of like introducing another thing? It's like, oh, by the way, this exists. By the way, this also exists, and by the way, this thing that's similar to the other thing exists also exists.
And
we're only bringing it up now.
Yeah, it gets oversaturated. I will tell you that it does. Like for example, there's the God of Light and God of Darkness, right? In RWBY. And they do try making a spin-off RWBY anime series where it tries to fill in like their own respective like fairy tales set within the world of RWBY, right? And one of them is about the god of Faunus. Yeah. Which actually I should probably look up because I never watched those spin-offs. But yeah, they just keep on adding like so much shit. And then
I don't know, it's like you're gonna introduce stuff that's samey, then just make it the same thing as the other thing. Or at least make it different from the other thing, where it's like, okay, that's obviously different. Because like Fall Maidens, their eyes glow and they do superpower shit. Silver Eyes, her eyes glowed and she did super shit. It's like the same thing. Maybe it's gonna be different later, but like from what we were introduced, we don't know. As of now, we don't know nothing yet. And as far as we know, at the time, they didn't know what it was when they were writing it, and they're just making it up. So like, probably. I don't know. You could have just said like, oh, plot twist: Ruby is also a maiden. Even her mom, wasn't her mom like Summer Rose? There you go. Last thought: Ruby. Dot.
Honestly, that actually kind of like blows my mind a little bit. They probably should have done something like that. But Silver Eyes is such a rare trait because like for people who are Silver Eye users or born with Silver Eyes have when they awaken their latent potential, kind of like how Ruby did, their eyes are different because they are more or less kryptonite to Grim, if that makes sense. Whereas, if you're a maiden, you just have magical abilities that are just like super powerful. Whereas like you still wouldn't be able to like outright obliterate most Grim like silver-eyed warriors could, or at least how they're told.
Well, then if the Fall Maidens are less powerful than Ruby, then why introduce the Fall Maidens? Why not introduce more Silver Eyes?
So they're not necessarily the maiden aren't necessarily weaker per se, because like the reason why Cinder got fucked up by Ruby the way she did was because she kind of had a little bit of that Grim inside of her, when she was trying to absorb Amber's maiden powers originally.
Mm-hmm.
Because you see that little leech thing latch onto Amber's face,
Okay.
then it starts absorbing like half her power, and then it disappears into her arm. That's also why her left arm
Okay.
got destroyed in the process as well, is because that side of her body was
Okay.
had that leech inside of her. And it's
But
also
that's kind of like another thing. I don't think they ever said that what Silver Eyes do yet, or
not
that they destroyed Grimm. I would have not have noted. That's why it, like, fucked up Cinder.
yeah, that's why Volume 6 is going to be like the season that just is both kind of the most exposition while also being like any questions that you have been dying to have answered kind of gets answered here. Like all of like the mystery of like
Mhm.
Ozpin and his secret past and everything is going to be revealed in Volume 6. His
It
connections to
just kind of
Salem.
feels like Silver Eyes are a Deus Ex Machina. Like, it came out of nowhere, and she just can just do that every once in a while. Like, if it was so important, we should have, like, why wait 3 seasons until we explain it? Like, Ruby should have a lot of questions. I don't know. Maybe Crow could be like helping her learn how to use them while they're like going to Haven Academy. I don't know.
The issue with that is that aside from and Ruby will find a silver-eyed mentor in Volume 6. I will tell you that now. She will get that proper mentoring, and you're gonna hate the ending of Volume 6 as much because, like, oh, she finally has her mentor. She finally uses her powers, and then she uses her powers, big epic fashion, awesome, and then you get a fucking Gurren Lagann drill instead. You're gonna fucking hate the ending, dude. I promise you that. You're gonna, or at least you're gonna find it really, really fucking stupid that she's gonna get that dub, but no, she doesn't.
Like, it would be really interesting if we got like a reboot of Ruby where they kind of like streamlined some stuff or like did better foreshadowing.
Yeah, and that's why I think you might like Celtic Phoenix's reworking of Ruby, because he does do his best to try and make it more digestible, more plausible, and not feel like such a like last minute inclusion or such hogwash as like what you're complaining about.
Like I like the show. Like, I don't like I like it. Like, I'm not like this stuff doesn't make me dislike the show. It just kind of like I could see that they're just kind of like oh, I just had a cool idea added in the show. Oh, I just have another cool idea added in the show, but they could have just made things the same thing.
Yep. Or just like make it easier on themselves, or just like make it entertaining and shit, and then they don't, and then they're just gonna. Like I said, this is why I say these volumes in particular are like you know, the roller coaster concept, where it's like it's gonna go up with volume 3. There's the summit, and then it's just all downhill from here.
Like, I'm still enjoying it. I like the season we watched this time. I do think it's a little lower stakes, but I think it's just a matter of like budget and time for the animators, because the show does look a lot better, but I'm assuming they can't like animate the action as cool as they used to. But like, I enjoyed it. I didn't really have that many problems. Everything I'm saying is just kind of like mild nitpicks, even though I'm like sound like I'm getting mad.
I'm kind of curious if you're gonna like, because I think that's copium, Dakota. Because I had like the
I generally enjoyed it. Like before we were streaming the day, I was like, oh, that was a good season, and now we're just talking about it. I'm just having like fun ideas.
yeah, because like
It was good, but like it could have been better. Like, that's not like, it's still just because it was good and could have been better. It still was good. You know what I mean?
yeah, and then we're gonna get into volume 6, and then you're just gonna end up like me, and like, fuck, what's the point then? Because like I said, that it like the whole reveal is gonna be interesting for like a lot of things getting answered between the gods of light and darkness, Salem's past and Ozpin's past, and how they're intertwined, how what Silver Eyes mean to the world of RWBY, how the fucking god of light and darkness are both the laziest and most petty assholes ever. And it's just
Salem, the Wicked Witch of the West.
yes, technically, yes.
I got it now. I get it. Explains their like evil orb thing. Like, oh, it's like Wicked Witch has her orb. ponder the orb. Her orb just has like tentacles like that Star Wars droid.
Oh. I will say that Volume 5 does have like a pretty good, decent fight scenes, especially with Raven and Cinder. Except that one weird close-up scene where like you're just close up to their faces, and they're just like hacking and slashing at air from like that perspective. Like, I thought that was just silly. They could have just like done away with that at least. And on top of that, and that's also another problem I have is like, initially in the story of the 4 maidens, each maiden has like unique abilities respective to themselves, whereas Fall, you can arguably say, could have all 4 of those abilities, because like Fall can be considered like one of each season, depending on how you see it. But like, because like you saw Spring have like plants grow around them, you saw Winter literally have fucking ice powers, you saw Summer have fire power, and you have Fall have like fall powers, like air breeze and everything. And so like they all had their specific unique power to each of them. And then why does Spring have ice abilities with Raven?
I'm just thinking right now, if RWBY was a fall maiden, like they basically been like her mom was the summer maiden and get passed it to RWBY because this was the last thoughts. You could have had Weiss's sister Winter Snee be secretly one of the maidens, and that's why she does her own things. Maybe kill her off and make Weiss the Winter Maiden, and then you could have Yang's mom is what, the fall mate? What is it? The Spring Maiden?
Spring Maiden, yeah.
Kill off Yang's mom, and then make Yang the Spring Maiden, and then you could have a big final season battle where they're all 4 of them are like maidens, and they like fight the bad guy, and then maybe like Blake becomes like the new fall maiden.
I had a similar theory to that as well, and there's like a lot of issues here, and there's also a reason why Ruby's mom isn't in the picture anymore, because like I said before, she's a silver-eyed warrior as well. And you're gonna get into Volume 6, and it's basically going to be explained that at some point, and actually they kind of did explain it a little bit in Volume 4, that Salem and her people basically hunted down the silver-eyed warriors to extinction. We never see, or supposedly, up until like Ruby and Summer, but like we never know. Yeah. We don't know what the fuck happened to Summer, so we don't know. Well, we technically get told that she's dead, but we don't get shown a body, or don't get explained or elaborate what the fuck happened there, because even Crow doesn't even know technically, unless he knows and he's just not saying anything. But it's never mentioned what the fuck happened there. And then when you get into Volume 9, Dakota, or at the end credit scene of Volume 8, you're gonna get like a big what the fuck. And in regards to Ruby's mother. And then they never touch upon it again.
I just feel like that idea I just suggested would have fit so narratively, and have like the show leading up to Team RWBY becoming the 4 fall maidens. And like, I don't know, it just makes sense, because like with the fall maidens, when they kind of introduced them out of nowhere. And they kind of seem like Endgame, kind of like, okay, this is what the story is going to be about, like the Fallen Maidens lore, right? But then now in other seasons, it's like, Fallen Maidens aren't really that important. There's actually another thing that we just introduced this witch bad guy, and she actually wants these MacGuffins, and like the Fallen Maidens aren't actually that powerful. We can kill them very easily. So it's like, why did you introduce them then?
Yeah,
like it felt like Cinder becoming a Fall Maiden was like Endgame. Like their plan is to get the Fall Maiden powers, to combine powers to do Apocalypse or something. But now it's like, no, that was just kind of a side mission. It's actually about the Infinity Stones and this witch.
It's actually a little bit both.
I know it's about both. Like you need the Fall Maidens to get the MacGuffins, but it just kind of like, oh, so like these powerful super women, they're actually not that powerful. They're just kind of keys.
Yeah. And that was
Yeah.
It's just like, I don't know, just so like this sounded cool, but now it's like, oh, it's actually not that cool. Okay, I guess they're just not important. They're just kind of like a side thing in the show.
and yeah, that's why they
Like they
kind
feel like they could have been more plot relevant.
yeah, that's why the maidens kind of like lose all hype, kind of when it
Yeah.
comes to them, because like, oh, cool, they're just like uh warrior witches and everything, and like, and then it's like, oh no, they're keys. Oh, okay. I mean, it's cool, I guess.
They should have just made Ruby the summer maiden and then like lead up to all the girls becoming the other maidens and take down Cinder and Salem. Like Dragon Ball Z style.
I mean, they could
I don't
possibly
know.
still do that whenever they decide to come out with Volume 10, because
Yeah, but Ruby already has silver eye powers now. What is she gonna be extra super duper powerful if she becomes a maiden?
possibly.
That's a little too much.
You'll when you understand why Raven says fighting against Salem's a losing battle, you will find out we're beyond too much.
Okay.
Alright, so getting into characters. So we got introduced to Oscar in Volume 4, and we got introduced to him a little bit better in Volume 5. What do you feel about the next Ozpin?
Seems nice. He just seems like the cute little guy character, like ooh, silly awkward moments with him or whatever. But he seems nice. I could see them maybe doing something cool with him. But like he might just kind of feel like he's just there to be Ozpin and he's not really important. But like I could see them doing some cool stuff with him, like have a cool character arc. He seems interesting. His character design's nice.
Yeah, he seems like a good kid.
Mhm.
And I'll admit I was certainly like curious as to where they were going to take him throughout the next couple volumes. And let's just say I'm satisfied enough to say that they at least worked with me.
Mm-hmm.
So then next we should talk about any other characters that got reintroduced or got a little bit more exploration. How do you feel about Hazel?
That lizard girl.
No.
Oh.
The big, tall, silent, buff guy.
The guy who sounds like a COD
Magic
zombie when he
Bane.
yeah, the guy when he sounds like a COD zombie when he screams.
I mean, he's kind of neat, I guess, but I didn't really have any opinion of him one way or the other. Maybe he'll be important. I think you mentioned that he kind of seems more like one of the nicer of the bad guys, so like maybe he's redeemable. I don't know, but like he seemed like cool and mysterious, but like I didn't really think much of him. He's Magic Bane.
Magic Bane. Yeah, I like Hazel. He seems interesting. He seems cool. The only thing that kind of bothers me is his semblance. It's literally just Sipa.
Mm.
That's it.
What?
Sipa. It's a medical condition that people can be born with, where they don't have any. Well, they have them, but like their pain receptors are like dead. So like,
Oh,
so like you can stub your toe in the coffee table and you like crouch down in pain and everything. A person with Sipa will do the same thing and like, is that the breeze? Is that the wind? And just shrug it off. And that's why the movie Novocaine is actually a whole movie about a whole action movie about somebody born with SEPA and how what their kind of daily life is, where like they have to like be careful with eating certain foods, otherwise if they're not careful could accidentally chew their tongue.
right.
Ooh. Wouldn't they
Yeah,
feel it? Like on their teeth? Like the texture would be different?
I'm not sure.
So
Like I'm assuming you can feel texture, you just can't feel pain.
So you would technically feel something on your tongue because you can bite down and feel like your teeth on your tongue, no problem. However, because you don't feel pain, you won't know if you're biting down on your tongue or if you're biting down on just
Whatever
food
you're
stuck in
eating.
your teeth.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know, but like it would be thicker. Like you'd be chewing like, oh, I'm eating a piece of steak, and you're eating it, and then like, huh, my steak is extra thick and chewy all of a sudden. The texture's different.
My
Well,
steak
here's
is
the
extra
thing.
bloody today.
What thing? People like to say that if you're going to eat right after getting like dental surgery, you should eat something that doesn't resemble your tongue, like strawberries or whatever. Otherwise, because you can't feel your tongue and you bite down on it, you're not going to know if it's a strawberry or a piece of meat or your tongue. So
Mhm.
And that's
so
why
you ain't gonna eat it all until you've become fully the numbness has gone away completely.
yeah.
Mhm.
That's why in Novocaine, in the movie, you're introduced to the main character who basically gets out of bed, gets his clothes on, he's going to his banking job, and he makes himself a weird smoothie because that's the only thing he could like digest without having risk chewing his tongue basically.
Right.
Okay.
But yeah, and this is where it's not very imaginative. Like it's cool. He doesn't feel pain. That's his semblance. Cool, I guess. The issue is that that's a medical condition. That's not a superpower. That's a medical condition.
You know, unrelated, but when they did like the Ren backstory episode, I was confused what his power was. He just randomly stopped crying, and I think in this season, Nora mentioned it was just masking, and I'm like, that's not a superpower. I think Ren's just autistic.
I mean,
He's just masking.
technically, it'd be like not really like I was gonna say invisibility, but non-visibility. But
It's like hiding your emotions, basically.
Oh, so like
Yeah.
he did turn himself invisible in front of the Grim. Can he like actually turn invisible, or
No.
can he just turn his
No,
emotions invisible so the
he,
Grim
ba-
can't
he
sense
basically
him?
masks any emotions between him or anyone close by, so that the Grim can't see them. Because
Okay, because I was like really confused what his powers was. I think I asked, and I don't know if you guys answered, but then this episode Nora's like he can mask his emotions. I'm like, that's not a superpower.
the way I see it is that the Grim are basically
I know they sense
and-
emotions.
well,
Like,
let me finish.
yeah.
They only sense things by emotions, meaning they're basically blind to anything that doesn't have emotions. They don't have any feelings. So it's the reason why they can sense animals or humans through like building walls because they can sense them. The moment you remove the emotions, they're blind to everything else.
Yeah.
And why
So
doesn't Ren just like walk into like the forest and just stab random Grim? They won't even see him coming.
semblances take
He doesn't
energy,
have
bro.
to fight him.
Semblances take energy, bud.
Well,
I guess.
they do now.
I guess,
There's the
yeah.
thing about that is that like that's what I didn't like about it. It was like people could in like the first 3 volumes, like you could literally just like use your semblance all willy nilly and everything, but
Mhm.
like now it's just like using up an energy bar now, which I didn't like. I didn't like that new retcon to the things.
Hmm.
They had to have some sort of limit, otherwise people would think, oh, why didn't they just use their semblance to get out of the situation much easier? No, they have to make it so, oh, the semblance can only be used so many times before it tires the person out.
Hmm.
They have to have
This is-
some kind of limit.
Yeah, this is honestly what I thought. That scene where like Ren just stops crying. I'm like, what is this? Is his power?
Power of
Like that,
autism.
he literally does what that baby does. He's like
Oh my
crying and then does that face. I'm just like confused as fuck. Like, what just happened? They don't
So
explain
that's where
it.
that meme's from.
Queens don't cry. Now someone needs to Photoshop that as Kid Ren. Like,
Please don't. If you're gonna do that,
his
draw
father's like,
oh god, draw them from scratch. Don't put Ren's hair on that baby.
Queens don't, just like Ren. Was his father like a ninja or something? Huntsmen don't cry. I don't know.
Oh my god.
And then he just masked his tears.
But yeah, that's like the thing is like where like yeah, that kind of camouflage is useful and when it comes into like
Mhm.
living in a world where your monsters hunt you by sensing your fear, your anger, your negative
Mhm.
emotions and shit. That's cool. That makes sense. I can buy that. Then you have a little
Mhm.
medical condition over here with Hazel.
Mm.
Mhm.
It gets even worse when you find out what Ironwood's semblances too.
Mm,
Where it's not even a semblance; it's fucking narcissism.
pretty much.
With semblances, he likes himself a lot.
No, it's dude, should we tell him because it's like not really a well.
I don't really care. You can tell me.
His semblance is just logical thinking.
Oh, so he's just smart.
Not even necessarily like
More or
super
less.
smart, but more like
Calculative.
calculative. Yes, he like
Yeah.
yeah, and like I said, it's not even a superpower. It's just being an asshole.
Yeah,
Which-
the wiki basically says that his semblance named Metal, basically unique ability enables him to use his weapon in a combination with a special designed silver cannon as a powerful weapon to emit a lethal beam. That's not a superpower, that's a fucking weapon.
Yeah.
So if it's a superpower, then okay, maybe make it so it shoots out of his
Whose
hand.
power is
Or
the laser?
Ironwood.
Oh, okay.
That it's not power. It literally shoots out of a silver cannon, which is his robotic fucking hand.
Yeah.
Again, weapon.
That's just no different than Yang's shotgun gloves.
Pretty much.
Exactly. So like they just get unimaginative with their semblances going forward. Like
I mean, if they made it so. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, you go.
I was saying, if they made it so his semblance was, precision, like his eyes literally become like sniper scopes, that would be interesting because it means that he, as a soldier, literally has eagle eyes.
Yeah.
But no, they decided to be creative.
He could be like Deadshot. He's just like good at aiming.
Thomas, no one likes you. Fuck off. Oh God.
Your movie was mid.
I liked you better when you were an actual puppet on a set, not fucking shit ass animation. Seriously, the original Thomas and Friends with the like little figures and actual steam was really good. I missed that those days.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to RWBY.
Yeah, semblances are just unimaginative now. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, I mean,
they're either just like, you go.
They're either like pretty blatant and obvious to the point where it's uncreative. There's nothing special about them, or they're not even semblances. They're just might as well be a weapon disguised as a superpower.
Yeah. It's either like they're like so simple that they're not really a power. They're more of just like you're really good at something, or just like clones.
Exactly.
A lot of people like I know I've mentioned this before. A lot of them are just kind of just making copies of yourselves. Like Blake can make a copy of herself. Sun can make copies of themselves. The green hair girl Emerald, she can make illusions and essentially copy herself. Same with the Neapolitan, she could like make illusions and copy herself. It's just like
there are differences, but they're so similar that unless you know the details, they might as well be carbon copies.
Yeah, they're basically they're the same thing with different flavor. Like it's kind of cool, but like
yeah, with Blake, it's create a shadow copy to basically it's a substitute to trap your opponents. Sun, create literal copies of light to fight with you. Emerald, create illusions that are just there to mentally trick the opponent. Neapolitan, create illusions that will make it so you can run away.
Yeah, like the only ones who actually have like legit kind of like semblances, I think it's just RWBY and Yang, honestly. Like I guess like Weiss maybe, but Weiss is very vague. You could just say she doesn't have one and she just uses this Snee dust.
Well,
it's her
can...
sigils.
She's just good at magic. She's good at like, but that's like, is she the only one who can do that? Like,
it mainly the Snee family has a strong proficiency with dust, more or less. So it's kind of an inherited semblance, more or less.
Yeah,
just a dust proficiency.
But like, if you need dust to do it, then it kind of makes you feel like anyone can do it. They just don't.
I mean, she typically did summon that night without dust, so
yeah,
she does have. She can still use it without it. So
theoretically, she could make a copy of herself.
No, actually, she can't. It's based
No. So
Okay.
how she can summon have summons with
Yeah, I think he
what
just thinks she fought.
yeah, it has to be things that she defeated.
Okay, if she wins an argument with her dad, can she make a copy of her dad?
Not like that, no.
no, I mean, if you want to create like a copy of his suit and then slash that to get her anger out, then maybe. But she can't. She can only create things that aren't human. Humanoid, like the suit of armor, yes. Human, no,
Can she make them talk?
no.
Okay. Okay, what if she got like a friend who's a really good impersonator and ventriloquist, makes a copy of her dad's clothes but with a helmet on, and then have him like, oh, I need access to this room. Sir, why are you glowing? I was in the knee dust. Don't worry about it.
I mean, theoretically that could work, but you need someone who could actually copy Jacques' voice, which,
I
as
mean,
far as you know,
The seventh dwarf guy did a bunch of different voice. I bet he could do a good impression.
Klein maybe. I mean,
Maybe.
here's the thing. I don't know.
Okay,
But
what if you find someone whose semblance is to like copy people's voices perfectly and like have it like projected to different rooms you're not even in? And then
that would work technically, yes. But as I was saying, back on the subject of semblances, technically Nora's semblance to absorb lightning and dish it back out is unique. We don't really have anyone who's similar to that.
okay. But that
And
then she's just similar to Yang, whose power is like, yet when she gets angry, she has like an energy boost. Nora's just like,
No.
it's kind of different, but they're both energy related, so it's kind of samey.
Well, the thing
Not
about
necessarily.
Yang is that Yang is like whatever pain she dishes out, she just sends it right back. So, what's a good example of this?
That's Nora.
No, that's Yang. Yang is
Oh.
like kinetic energy. Like if you punch Yang,
Okay,
she'll
she's
absorb
like Black
that.
Panther's suit.
Yes, thank you. Yes.
what'd you say?
She's like Black Panther's vibranium suit, where like it absorbs kinetic energy and then like pushes it back like a bomb.
Yes.
Basically,
That's Yang's
Yeah, with-
semblance.
Yang
I
is
thought she just
connected
got like an
with-
angry boost.
Basically.
No, it's
Well,
not. It's not like unless she gets hit many times and goes berserk. It is a little more, a little more complicated than that. With Nora, it's only electric energy, and she can literally shoot it back out as electric energy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, with Nora,
Funny she
it's
found
like
out just by getting struck by lightning.
that was hilarious. But with like Nora,
Oh, I
it's
didn't
like
die. Neat.
yeah, she just gets a boost with like electricity, basically, like static shock. She's like static shock in that regard.
Pretty much. Or I guess like the Iron Man suit in Avengers.
Yes,
Hmm.
yes.
And there's also actually, correct me wrong, there's no one else who actually has a like ability to pull objects toward them like like Pyrrha's magnetism.
Good Witch. Good Witch has telekinesis.
Okay, fair
I
point.
thought she just had Felix powers because she didn't just move things with her mind. She fixed things.
No, she doesn't have Reparo on standby. She has telekinesis with her whip.
It's kind of a little bit confusing because they don't really dive deep into that because of it's really hard to. It is telekinesis, but like even in the book, the data book I have for Good Witch, she is literally explaining that her telekinesis is so good that she can fix things so well that it's basically rewinding time. That's literally in the book.
Which if you know, it's
that's
basically
not really necessary telekinesis. Why not make her have like powers like Doctor Strange's Eye of Agamotto, where he can just rewind time, like how like he ate an apple and then used the Eye of Agamotto to reassemble the apple.
I don't know, because like
It's like time rewind powers to fix things.
Glenda's semblance. Telekinesis allows her to move, control objects. She has a high degree of control over her semblance and is capable of using it in combat both defensively and offensively by stopping projectiles and creating shields, and offensively by manipulating objects and using them to attack. You see that in Volume 1, Episode 1. Her semblance also appears to be able to reassemble and repair broken objects, an ability she puts to use in Breach, sealing the entrance through which Grimm were entering from. She also uses it to repair rooms and property destroyed by the antics of Team RWBY and Team Juniper and Bronwyn. According to Coco Adele, the peak of Glinda's semblance allows her to lift large chunks of buildings at once. Oh, that's interesting. So I kind of need a citation for that. I bet you $10 fucking that's in the novel. It is.
There you go.
But yeah, that's basically it. She just has telekinesis.
And fixing powers.
God damn it.
I mean, there's difference between moving stuff around and then like completely reassembling a destroyed piece of drywall. Like the building's like fused back together like nothing happened. It's not telekinesis, really. I mean, telekinesis is part of it, but like, I don't know.
Well, that's what it says. Ugh. Oh, then when we do get into like future seasons, we do get introduced to a bunch of other characters with similar. Oh well, we also have Crow with his bad luck, misfortune ability.
I thought that was not a semblance. That was just a curse.
It's
both, depending on your a certain point of view.
I always thought semblance was transforming into a crow, and the whole bad luck thing was just a passive.
No, because the crow power was given to him by the wizard. That's not a semblance. That's magic.
Yeah.
Oh, never mind then.
So that means he's got to have like a third thing. Like he has a curse that makes him unlucky. He was gifted the power to transfer to a bird. What's his semblance?
The semblance is misfortune. It quite literally is that.
Well, he said it was a curse. It's not. He didn't say it was a semblance.
No, it is a curse to him because it doesn't discriminate of who gets bad luck to. So that's why he keeps a distance with other people, because like if he stays too close to people, they'll end up falling under bad luck. It's domino. It's the reverse of domino, basically.
So he's kind of like Domino or Jinx from the Teen Titans cartoon, where they just make other people have bad luck.
Yes,
pretty much.
But with Jinx but like Domino is still like passive on her own end at like Crow, but with Crow, it's just bad luck that he can't control on others. Whereas with Jinx, she can just control who gets bad luck and who doesn't. And speaking of Domino, we do actually have a character that has the opposite of bad luck. Coming in volume 7, I think.
8.
Raven?
Yeah, it's either 7 or 8.
Yeah.
Raven has good luck powers?
No. It's part of that Atlas super team that I mentioned earlier that we'll get to be introduced to in volumes 7 or 8.
Okay.
But yeah, now that you say that, a lot of powers are starting to look a lot more samey now, and I don't know how I feel about that.
Like, some of them are powers, others are just kind of like skills, where it's just like, this is just a cutie mark. I was like, oh, I'm really good with animals. Like, yeah, that's not really a power, that's just kind of like natural talent.
Pretty much.
Every animal handler in America, I guess. Like, for real. Like, they're not powers, though. That's it. Now, if you were going to tell me that they're druids, cool. You got animal handling. You got speak with animal. You have shapeshift. Pick one. Pick one. It's just, shapeshift is actually a goddamn power. There we go. Do that.
But honestly, like a show about superheroes that's like grounded in realism, but their powers are just basically their talents, but it's like portrayed as a power, would kind of be cool. So there's like nothing really supernatural going on. They're just really good at stuff, or like just naturally just strong.
There kind of is. There's a book series I think it's called The Secret Hour, where instead of there actually being 24 hours in a day, there's actually 25. But during that 25th hour, it's like a blue period where everything like turns blue, and people who were not born within the 25th hour, which is extremely fucking rare, end up being having superpowers within this time span. And
how does that work? How do you give birth to someone in an hour? You can't even. If everyone just zonks out at the 25th hour, then the doctors and the mom's just gonna zonk out, and how's the baby gonna come out? Is it just gonna fall out, or is it? That's like an hour is like very dangerous. Like how
Wait
is
a
someone
minute.
born and how is someone born in the 25th hour?
Wait a minute. Why are we talking about the Dark Hour for Persona 3?
Like how do you give birth to someone in a time zone where you freeze? The baby's just gonna have to come out on its own. Like tough it out, baby. You're gonna have to come out on your own for an hour.
What the fuck? I have so many questions, starting with why?
I don't know. No one can be born in the 25th hour. There'll just be a lot of like child deaths. Like so, it'll be like
that's
like,
why there's like so rare.
The doctor is gonna be like giving birth to the baby. They're gonna freeze out of time. The baby's just gonna get stuck in there, probably die, and then it's just a split second. They'll be like, "All right, everything's going fine," and then all of a sudden the baby's dead magically. Like, what happened? Because an hour passed. But to them, like no time has passed, so it's just like it's alive and then gone. Like what happened to the baby? Like literally a second passed.
I really want to like try to find like the books or like where I actually because like.
Sorry about my tangent. You can continue on your thought when you were talking about it.
Oh, like what you said just reminded me of that because in the secret, I think it's called the Secret Hour. I swear to God, it is because people who are born within the Secret Hour somehow are they really yada yada it a lot. And they
so goofy.
It is
25th hour.
That's...
So people who are bored with
this
it,
work?
it's really confusing. It's
what happens if someone's driving a car?
okay. So
don't live.
No. So here's the thing. Here's the
mass car crashes, planes falling from the skies. What about different time zones?
So okay, the thing about the.
Okay.
Does the blue light, the magic blue light, stop cars and objects?
Yes, actually, yes, it does. Like so. When
there's this planes floating. I don't know.
Yes. So when the secret hour is entered, it's quite literally everything is like time stopped in place, more or less. So and then this allows quite literally all these high school teenagers just pretty much hang out and not really know what to do because they all don't know why they're able to roam freely within the secret hour and
time stops, then theoretically the baby would stop inside the mother's womb and would just be frozen in there. How would it be bored?
Some questions aren't best not the answer. May please move on before I start questioning my life decision.
Is there like 25th hour people who are like doctors, like, oh shit, the time stopped, I better like do a quick C-section real quick?
Well, so from how certain the main characters themselves for the books were born, so there's so these kids born within the secret hour do have superpowers, and they are mostly effective within the secret hour, unless you're that one nerd who is an expert in trigonometry. But the numbers 13 matter in this because the number 13 I think is like a sign of bad luck, I think. And then but number 12, like anything with that is a dividend of 12 is safe numbers, and that comes into play because within the secret hour, within this frozen time, there are and you're just gonna rant the same thing again. There are these like goo monsters things that are like predators within the secret hour, and one of the ways to combat these predators is with light. But the problem is that there is no light within stopped time, and so that's why this new main character who just moved into town is the fabled Flamebringer. And so whenever she has named something that has a dividend of 12 in it, and they're like a long ass names too, by the way, she can pretty much bring life to fire, electronics, and other machinery to illuminate the darkness and pretty much be killing off these shadow creatures, basically.
So that their weakness is a flashlight?
Basically, yes. It's basically Alan Wake. It's basically like Alan Wake in that regard.
I don't know anything about that.
God damn it, Dakota.
Is that the game that came out that's live action?
I don't think so.
I think I saw like people playing a game like at Alan Wake 2 and it like looked like it was live action.
Oh, so it kind
of the cutscenes at least.
I think that's just how good the graphics are, I think.
No, that was graphics. That didn't look CG at all.
I think that's just how good it is. They tricked you, Dakota.
Googling this.
Okay, here we go.
Is Alan Wake 2
I think they used like real actors for like the trailers, I think.
live action? The studio began implementing live action video inside of gameplay with the 2019 game Control.
Oh.
Yeah, it looks. Yeah, I think it is live act. There's like cutscenes that are live action, I think.
Really? That's interesting. Oh, yeah.
I think. I could be wrong.
You're gonna have to play Control now.
I see. To blur the line between what is real and... Wait a second. Why does Alan Wake 2 have live action scenes? The actors who convincingly portray their fears, this is not really giving me an answer at all, but it looks like it is.
But
sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. But anyways, there's like you have the Flamebringer who can like bring life to fire and electronics within Secret Hour. Then you have I forgot what his special name is, but basically he kind of like defies gravity and he allows people to hold on to him and pretty much defy gravity as well. And so like he can leap a tall building in a single bound, but it's like 0G kinda. And then
Q Wicked's defying gravity here. I'm defying gravity.
I need to watch the movie at some point. I hear it's so good.
Yeah, I heard it's good. It's always good to hear movies are good because I kind of wasn't sure how the trailers didn't make me like that interested, but I heard it's good. Like, oh, that's cool.
I was like driven away from it with how the main actress who playing the Wicked Witch just reacted to fan art of
What?
Yeah, so there's the movie poster, right, where it looks like it's emulating the Whispering poster for like the play.
The Broadway show, right?
Yeah, and so someone made a fan edit of that movie poster and just made it more like the original play poster. And the actress playing the Wicked Witch went off on it. She like crashed out and she was like calling it racist and everything like that. She was losing her fucking mind. She was like out of touch with reality all over a fan edit. It was ridiculous.
I mean, like, there's a lot of people on Twitter who are like kind of racist and were like, "Look, I fixed your art," and basically whitewashed a character.
No. That
maybe she just misinterpreted as that.
It's not though. She didn't.
Valid.
She didn't. So in the movie, in the play poster, it's literally just the characters, like the what's her name? The good witch of what the North or something like that.
Glinda.
Yeah.
Glinda. Yeah, something like that. I don't know.
Well, the good witch is whispering into the Wicked Witch's ear, and they have shadows covering their eyes and everything. And I have to find it. I really need to find it to give you exact idea of how fucking crazy the actress playing the Wicked Witch crashed out.
I'm just thinking like if it was basically she's like a black actress, right? And if they like made fan art where they removed all her like, you know, African American features, she could have like misinterpreted as like one of those like, oh look, I fixed the movie, because there's probably a lot of people who are like racist and angry of like her being cast as the Wicked Witch. So she just probably had a lot of stress and just
No.
misread this particular situation.
So I see what you mean, because the original poster had
Hmm.
you know, you have the good witch
Okay.
whispering into the Wicked Witch's ear and such. The difference being, however, that the poster has her eyes being shown and her lips being green and not smiling, while the edit makes it closer to the to the poster with darkness of her eyes, lips red and smiling or smirking rather. That's and I don't think that's offensive. It's accurate to the poster.
Hmm. There's also the whole thing where like some people don't like it when you tell like women to smile, so maybe it's like interpreted that way, or like,
I mean,
how dare
sure,
you?
but they didn't
I
do
sent a
it to
picture in the
celebrate
chat.
it. They said to make it more accurate.
Yeah, I sent the picture in the group chat. You can look at it yourself. There, the first image is the original
Yep.
play poster. The second image is the movie poster version, the original or the quote unquote original movie poster version next to the Broadway
Okay.
poster. The third image is literally the fan edit.
Okay, so like it's not that bad.
It's not
but, like, I
bad.
don't
That's
know.
the issue. It's not bad at all.
Because I just maybe it's like the smiling. Maybe it's like, oh, you hid my eyes, so you can't tell it's me, and like you
Oh,
maybe
I know what you're
smile.
doing.
That's kind of
Movie.
sexist. But like, I don't know. I'm just trying to like figure out like where she was coming from.
Well,
You know what I mean?
she
Like,
crashes
she probably
out.
was. She was kind of in the wrong, but like trying to see where was she coming from. Where was the misunderstanding?
She was
You know
crashing
what I
out,
mean?
dude. She was crashing out.
But again, like, you know, like she was basically like they casted a black actress to play the Wicked Witch, and I'm assuming they were probably white in the original play. So there's probably a lot of shitty people complaining about that for no reason. So maybe she just kind of like this was the thing that just made her snap. But like it was
That's
like,
their
oh, you should have
problem.
snapped at something else. You
It's
know
like
what I mean?
no one who actually knows the original play is going to complain about the edit because, like,
Here's
oh yeah,
the
that's
thing:
closer to
a
the
lot of people
poster.
on the internet who complain about the shit don't even watch the stuff they're complaining about. They're just looking for, all right, let's find
Yeah.
something we could be angry and racist about to get views on YouTube to radicalize people who don't watch the thing, but like pretend like, oh my god, this is so bad.
That's the biggest problem. They're trying to fight for something that and they don't even know what they're fighting for. They don't know the original
Yeah.
context. They
Like,
join
I'll
the
see, like,
protest knowing what the protesting. Like, okay, yeah, you're fighting for the reason, but why? We saw protest when we were part of it. Like, no, you're fighting a battle that's not yours.
mhm.
Anyway.
There's like a lot of people who just like make like, oh my god, they race swapped the character. We're gonna make like 50 videos like ranting about it, and it's like you've never talked about this franchise on your channel for like ever, and now all of a sudden you're a fan. Like, just like you don't know, you don't care about this franchise. You just try to get rage bait. So like, I'm just seeing like those kind of trolls on the internet. Maybe she just kind of got like, you know, just kind of snapped at this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm trying to like to see like where she was coming from, even if she was kind of in the wrong, because I do think the edit is kind of harmless. It kind of reminds me of that situation where like the creator of Hazbin Hotel. There's a lot of people who like shit on Hazbin Hotel and like Hello Boss, right? To the point where it's like annoying for the creator.
Oh yeah, the like
And-
what if Family Guy was written by Vizzy Pop, or like
Yeah,
what
like
if
what if Digital Circus was written by Vizzy Pop? He did it as like a harmless joke because he thought the meme was funny, but like Vizzy Pop thought he was being serious and blocked him.
yeah, and then literally
like-
the week after that, she literally made her own Vizzy Pop was made by Vizzy Pop joke as well. So it was like, what? You're okay with the meme now?
I mean, she probably kind of like someone probably like calmed her down, you know, like because we're all complex, emotional people. We all have we don't know what's going on in each of our minds. So like, her feelings are valid. Like the criticism is like, yeah, there is some valid criticism of her work, but like it gets to a point where it's obsessive, where it could like get to her head, or just like leave me the fuck alone, shut up.
YouTube.
So like, maybe this actress probably went through a lot. There's probably a lot of criticism of this remake from people who don't even watch the play, to the point where she just kind of snapped at this art piece. You know what I mean? Because it's really hard for like actresses of like actors and actresses of color when they're like in like big franchise films, and people like to play like, oh my god, they made it woke.
And that's the thing. The word woke has been so like mutated in something that's not even like realistic, not even nonsensical.
Yeah.
Like back in the day, people thought woke, they thought, oh yeah, something that is progressive, something that's meant to be great and all. Now it's just, oh, it's woke because I don't like it.
Yeah, it's like the definition of woke is actually very positive, but it's just taken by like people who are like, oh, person of color casted in a movie I used to like, now I hate it. Like, oh, why? Is it because it's racially motivated? Like, no, it's just woke.
Well, see,
woke means positive thing of like diversity. So you're saying it's because the person of color is casted in it.
well, here's the.
So in other words, they're racist and don't want progression. They want things to stay the same.
It's just like it's a word they can say to be like it's not, we're not racist. We just think it's woke.
Well, here's okay. I'm not going to be defending like actual racists or anything like that, but I was actually just watching a video earlier today talking about the new Avatar animated movies that are coming out and everything, and how the casting director is always a person who is like on point with their perfect casting choices and everything. And so the new adventures of like there's like 2 animated movies that are about Aang technically. So like one's about one's about Aang and his friends growing up, and then there's a third one. I don't know what the third one's about, but the casting choices for all those characters are none of them are going to be the original voices or any interpretation of them. None of them. And you want to know what they're all being casted as, or who all the cast is? Just like in general, they're all Asian cast, by the way.
I mean, I'm pretty sure the creators of Avatar, over time they've kind of like, if we redid it now, we would have made it more accurate. So like, I'm not really surprised or like upset about that.
I don't.
It would be sad. Is Zuko at least staying? Because I like Zuko's voice, but everyone else was like kid characters, so I could see them recasting them anyway.
I don't think so.
I don't think Dosco Bosco is. Well, the thing is that when Bonnie Bosco voiced Zuko, he was still young enough to be a believable teen character.
Have you heard him in like
he
sounds the same.
He sounds the same, dude.
I haven't heard many of his modern day things. So I don't.
There's this audio of an interview where he's like, "Oh, I went to go to Starbucks to get a coffee, and like I just like, is it like Bosco's coffee?" Is like, "Yeah, that's me." And the coffee lady's like, "Prince Zuko?" And he's like, "Yes, I am."
Oh, that's wholesome. That's great.
Yeah,
she's just like your voice. His voice is just so recognized. She's like, "Zuko?" And he's like, "Yes."
But
yes.
Yeah, so like it's fine if you're wanting to like be accurate to the representation of like, oh, have a black character be voiced by a black actor. That makes sense. Cool.
Yeah.
The thing is that unfortunately now voicing gigs in general now are segregated now because of people like what Pro Z did. Pro Z and I think
it's like
Pro ZD.
Pro ZD, yes. What he did because he and another person was on a advocating for actors of specific ethnicities to stick with their specific ethnicities, right? And ironically, it just kind of backfired on Pro ZD because he, I even remember this too, because he made a tweet and video talking about how his agent got him a bunch of roles in animated series of Asian characters, and Pro ZD was like, well, okay, what about the father? What about him? He is his role for him not available? And his agent was like, no, because he's white. And so it kind of backfired on Pro ZD. Because he created...
I feel like it's a case by case basis where that's really bad. But like it should be like, if the character is a certain race, you should cast them as the race. But if the character's basically white, it doesn't really matter.
I'm good
because like there's so many white characters.
No, Dakota. I'm gonna have to disagree with you on that because so many people try to white knight and cancel Speedy Gonzalez, and you wanna know who stuck up for Speedy Gonzalez throughout all of that?
Mexicans.
the Mexican community.
That's kind of irrelevant to the conversation.
No,
That's saying,
it is
like,
not.
That's saying a character is
Not.
offensive, and then I'm saying it's not offensive. I'm not talking about like characters being offensive. I'm talking about like characters who you cast as a character.
But it's not
Like that's kind of like a different topic.
really.
People are like, oh, we need to get rid of Speedy because he's offensive, and then people like defend him like, no, he's not offensive. That's not like talking about like, hey, I want to voice a white character. No, you can't. You're Asian.
Well,
That's like two
also
different topics.
that was the two issues. It was that one, people saw who honestly at that point had no shoe to put in the ring, or didn't have a dog in the fight to talk about if what is offensive or not. And then secondly, they are also having an issue with Speedy Gonzalez because he was originally voiced by a white man. No
That
one
was, like,
cared.
that was like part of the time. Like it was a different time period. Like modern day, if you have the opportunity to give someone a job who wouldn't normally get a job, give them the job. But like don't segregate them. We're like, oh, you have to play only stereotypes. You can voice a white character if there's a role you sound good for.
That's the issue, though, is that should apply to anyone. That's the whole purpose of acting. There's this YouTube,
like,
these pair of YouTube
I just
PNG.
feel like with Avatar: The Last Airbender, it's like the entire cast is Asian, and there's probably a ton of Asian actors who need work. And like the original, like the characters are kids, and they're probably gonna make sequels where they're adults. So you're gonna need to recast them anyway as adults and kids. So why not be accurate this time, where they could be badass and give people jobs?
Here's the issue, though, is
Like,
that
why do you need to cast another white guy?
here's the issue, though, is that now because of what ProZD advocated for, is that he only created accidentally segregated actors in general now to only play those specific ethnicity roles. You can't.
But I feel like the problem
with.
issue with that is people are like basically abusing the rule, or they're only casting people into stereotypes, and that's where his problem is.
Oh yeah,
Like Avatar, everyone is like cool, badass, strong characters that are like very interesting, while he was being typecast. Like this would be different.
then
You know what I
just
mean? Like
play-
no one's being typecast. It's just being like, oh, this movie takes place in Asia. Let's give actors who wouldn't normally get jobs a chance to voice in something really cool.
So the thing is that then just be a good voice actor. If you're a good voice actor, you wouldn't have to have worried about some Joe Schmo, Mr. White Bread stealing your role in the first place. If you're a good enough voice actor, you're already gonna be a shoo-in then. That's actually.
But what would you prefer, Jabby? Like good voice actors voicing cool characters of their representation, or Aang voiced by Tom Holland?
See, now that you're going
Who
into
deserves the role?
you're going into the territory. Yeah, you're going into the territory of when people like to cast famous people for the sake of having a famous person in their title screen. That's
just for
like
power.
Avatar. They're gonna probably get a bunch of unknowns who are probably be really happy and cool that like I'm gonna be an iconic character from Nickelodeon's history.
Oh, well, let's okay. Before ZD advocated for people voicing characters of their respective ethnicity exclusively, by the way, you literally had a wide range of characters of any ethnicity being voiced by just about anyone, so long as the voice fit or if their acting prowess would fit in the series setting and personality of the character that they're seeing. That's why I was about to say there's this YouTube PNG couple called Clownfish TV who are former Marvel writers and even make their own indie comic as well. And in the trailer, in the release for their indie comic, they they screened a bunch of VAs to voice their respective main character. And out of all the VAs that they have, the one that they wanted to hire, but until COVID hit, and then that kind of screwed up their financials to hire them. The person that they wanted to hire was a black man, and their character's white, and they thought that the black man had the most perfect representation of what they foresaw their character sounding like. That's what it should have been. It didn't matter what your race was. It mattered if you sounded like you fit the role. And here's the ironic part: is like, okay, you're going to recast the entire characters to be ethnically represented properly. Cool. Then why is there so many characters getting race swapped in many other series, like Jimmy Olsen, or insert any redheaded character here?
The way I see it is, unless you're doing a live action series, which is a whole other can of worms, who you are behind the mic shouldn't matter, as long as your voice matches the character.
Exactly.
Because you're not going to have someone who's this big, hulking mass be voiced by Tara Strong. Because that doesn't make sense. If you want this big guy who was a character, you're probably going to get someone like Shaquille O'Neal or The Rock, someone who matches the character. It doesn't matter your ethnicity as long as the character voice is good and is accurate.
Mm-hmm.
If it's live action, then you're going to be they're probably going to be a little more representative because it's going to be the actual actor on set.
Mm-hmm. It's just like a lot of Hollywood is just very like white biased. They'll just cast a bunch of white people when it's like
it's been like
give
that
a bunch
centuries.
I know it's been like that from Century. I don't think it's a problem to try and fix that. If the entire animated series is about Asian culture, why not give people the opportunity to voice in something when they normally probably wouldn't get that much work?
I understand that, Dakota. I really do, and I do see where you're coming from. And
I feel like with Pro ZD's issue is basically kind of another problem where, like, again, these same people who normally would be like only cast white people or now have to cast people of ethnicity. They just kind of like typecast them as stereotypes and not give them roles for white characters. Like, they should, like, anyone should be able to play like a white character, but if a character is like a certain ethnicity, you should prioritize. Like, if a white person is right for the role, maybe you should cast them, but like you should like prioritize someone who fits better to give them the opportunity to work and have the character be authentic.
Work authentic, sure. Here's
like with like Avatar, like, yes, you could probably have some white voice actors in it, but maybe as like background characters.
Okay, let me ask you this: how many actors do you know that are Inuit descent? Because the waterbenders are based off the Inuit people.
Well, then let's get some Inuit actors.
That's what I'm asking you. How many actors do you know that are Inuit descent?
Yeah,
it's because they don't get casted in anything. They don't get the opportunity to be actors.
Yeah, but if they get casted as actors, what do you think their roles are mostly likely going to be? That's why the Predator movie Prey was focused on Native Americans, and then
think of it like a foot in the door. Like they get in a role in like Avatar, they become the standout character in it. Like, oh my god, they were a really good actor. They might get casted in other things because this was like their foot in the door into Hollywood. And then we have like a well-known name. They don't normally get the opportunity to get like their foot in the door.
Well, the issue is that not more so the proper role for them to play. The more so is like how to get them to get that role in the first place. Because if you have, what's a good famous voice actor I can think of off the top of my head?
Sarah Strong.
Yeah, let's go with her. It's going to be hard to compete with somebody that is on that level unless you get lucky. And that's the issue, is that even with somebody like her, she had to get lucky too at some point. You had to keep on grinding at it until you make it. That's why it's called make it until you break it. Yeah.
Make it break, and try until you make it. And by the way, I did a little search. There are only 14 Inuit actors. 14.
That's why you cast an unknown.
Yeah, but the issue right now is that those 14 actors are going to have to compete amongst themselves. I mean, sure.
No, you can just probably get someone new who hasn't been in anything yet. Like, you can find someone whose dream is like, oh, my dream is to be a voice actor, an actor in Hollywood, and like this could be their big shot. And then if they're really iconic in the role, then people are like, we noticed you were really good in that movie. You want to voice in other things?
I would love that. That would be perfect. That would be amazing. I mean, and that would give opportunity to anyone, whether you're big, small, experienced, inexperienced, because that's how it used to be back in the day, where anyone, if you tried and you did your best and you did just the right amount, you got the job. These days, no, that's not the case, because we live in an era where corporals are allergic to money, and anything that sounds like a good idea goes one ear and out the other hole. it's we're in the era where it's just gonna be that, and even worse because like when actual famous star power people started doing voice acting now or got brought into voice acting around Robin Williams time with Aladdin. Robin Williams knew what that meant for voice acting in general, and that's why he told Disney, "I will do this movie if you do not plaster my name everywhere on this movie." They did.
And what they do?
They did exactly that.
Yeah.
And you try to sue them.
And that's why he wasn't in the second one. Somehow they got him back for the third one, though. I don't know why. How?
They managed to convince him somehow, but honestly, he stopped trusting Disney after that.
Yeah, and he's also made like in his contract to not reuse voice audio of his unused audio. Do not reuse it to make a sequel or anything because he thinks that's creepy.
Yeah.
He probably would have hated AI.
Oh,
voice.
yeah,
He would have 100% despised it.
But like, I think recently Disney did like a 100th anniversary short where they used unused audio of him. But I guess it's fine because it's like a short and not a movie. Also, I think they asked his family if it was okay, and they said yeah.
Okay.
But
if that's the case, then yeah. But if they did it without that, then I don't care if
They
it's just
still
a short
should
or
have
not.
done it. He said don't reuse audio, and they reused audio. Even if his family said yeah, it's fine. I don't know. I still feel kind of weird about it. Just like they just like we want Robin Williams to say hi to Olaf.
Oh boy. And this is what worries me the most, because Disney is starting to really lean into AI for the actors who are dead and still play iconic characters.
Hmm.
Robin Williams is going to be rolling in his grave if they decide to do like another Aladdin series and bring back the actors who played Aladdin and Jasmine, which please don't do that. The original movie is fine enough. The sequels were...
I mean, they already made a live-action movie with Will Smith.
That it has its perks, or not perks, it has its upsides, but it wasn't going to hold a candle to the original.
I just hate how they took all the cool scenes from the beginning and just like brushed it off in the live action. Like they don't show like the Cave of Wonders scene with Jafar. They just sped on all the cool opening scenes. I would have loved to see the opening scene from the animated movie in live action where Jafar goes to the Cave of Wonders and he's like finding the diamond in the rough. But what they do is they do a drone shot in the day of like the cave.
Well, actually, they do have him say find the diamond in the rough.
Yeah, they say it, but it's a drone shot in the middle of the day and we don't get to see it. We just hear like in the distance, find the diamond in the rough. It's like, that's the coolest scene in the movie. I would have loved to see the movie begin like the animated one. That would have been cool, but they just sped run a bunch of opening stuff so that way they can introduce the genie's love interest and have Aladdin and the genie rant about jams.
And also, this isn't a race issue, it's a matter of casting. The guy they got to play Jafar, he doesn't have the right voice for the he doesn't sound intimidating or creepy at all. With the original one, he sounded slimy, very evil. The other guy,
they got a normal guy to be Jafar. He was just a normal guy. He was very boring. But it's like Disney's allergic to Disney villains now, which is weird because it's like their most profitable brand. Jafar is the second most entertaining character in the original Aladdin, in my opinion. He's just so well animated. His personality is really cool, and they just give him nothing.
And also, he works so well.
His ending is that he wishes to be Sultan and he sits in a chair. And then they stop him by having the guards like, he wasn't the Sultan an hour ago, so he's not your Sultan now. So the wish is void. And they're like, oh, you're right. He wasn't the Sultan an hour ago. Why are we worshiping him?
And there's also a thing that they cut down his character by making it so there's no Iago. I know Disney had an issue with Gilbert Gottfried. You could have gotten someone else to play Iago. But they ruined it. They also kind of ruined it by making it so instead of Aladdin fighting Jafar, the giant cobra, that was awesome. They transformed the parrot into some pterodactyl parrot looking thing, and that looks so ugly. It doesn't even look real. It's some bad CGI.
If it was up to me, what I would have done was I would have blended the animated one with the live action one, because like in the live action movie, he has a problem where he doesn't want to be the second best and he has that insecurity. I would have people keep saying you're not as good as the Sultan or you're not as good as Aladdin, to the point where he slowly gets more and more insane in the movie, to the point where he gets magical powers. He becomes a maniacal maniac like the animated movie. like he just goes insane throughout the movie. Like he starts out as just like a normal, cunning, calculated man, and then he just gets corrupted by the magical power.
Pretty much.
Imagine him
That
getting
would-
gaslit to
that would-
death.
I mean, there was one movie that had something similar. I think it was like, was it Wish that so Infinity Go was basically gaslit to the point where you had to use some dark magic or something.
Yeah,
I think so.
Something like that. But even then, that movie was terrible.
yeah.
Pretty much most, if not all, of the live action remakes were terrible, especially the ones that say they're mostly live action when in reality half of them are animated.
Oh, like
Yeah.
Lion King.
Yes.
Yeah.
Here's the thing.
It's-
There's even an edit of this on YouTube, and it bugs the fuck out of me. They could have made it so the characters were realistic looking, but still had the original designs, because you can't give emotion to a realistic looking animal.
Hmm.
And if you're going to have the feeling of the original, either go out with the songs or don't do them at all. There's the same issue with Mulan. They reference the songs with certain lines of dialogue, but they don't go all out with it. Either
Yeah.
sing the songs or don't have the lines in the movie at all. You already ruined it by making so Mulan some perfect she-willing warrior instead of evolving. So either make a good movie or don't make it at all. Anyway,
I've never seen Bula. It just like boggles my mind how they took one of the most kind of strong and relatable female characters and they just like took away to make her like not relatable at all. Whereas like you were born with magical powers that make you just good at everything. And like her conflict is she has to hide her like badassness from everyone, which is holding her back. So she's like, no, I need to just be badass.
That's not even a good conflict. It's literally just an excuse to make it so, oh, you have to hide her power until the big fucking what's what I'm looking for here? Not complex. Climax. It's like, no, the original Mulan had to start from nothing, only using her wits and her basic common sense, and become strong by, working with Shen, working with the three other guys. I can't remember the name because I haven't watched the movie in a long time. And just building off of that to become a great warrior. And when
she
she
has to like
evolved from
work
that,
smarter, not harder. She
Exactly,
just, like,
and-
figure out how to fight in her own way.
and then when the climax comes, the men start to fight like she does. They use their brains more than their bronze, and we get some genuinely good scenes from them. It was awesome, and they tore that away because, oh, we got to make sure that, powerful women. We make sure that, SHW agenda, all this junk. Like, no, that's not how you write a good character. Anyway.
Yeah.
I just still haven't watched that movie because it's just like I watched the review. It's just like, yeah, I like the animated Mulan movie. I don't want to watch this. I have heard someone say like if you watch it as its own thing, it's not that bad. But like, I just don't want to.
I'm praying that whenever the Lilo and Stitch live action movie comes out, it's not nearly as bad.
I'm already seeing things in the trailer where it's just not accurate to the original. Like now, Cobra Bubbles is working for the Men in Black and trying to hunt down Stitch. I don't think he's going to be a social worker at all.
That's another problem. Like, okay, let me mention three things they got right. First, Stitch's design and voice. They got the guy who played Stitch originally to come back, which thank you. Second, I think the casting for Lilo and Nani was good enough. Not perfect, but still good enough. And lastly, the fact that they actually tried to replicate the Hawaiian style music they had in the original in the trailer, I can appreciate that. But yeah, Cobra Bubbles, Jumbo and Pleakley looking very off with the very rushed CG look. And it feels like they're going with a different way of the story, which, okay, I'm curious where they're going with it, but I'm still going to go in with a very low bar.
I know someone pointed out, like, in the original movie, Lilo is never scared of Stitch because she's kind of, like, weird like that. She's, like, into that stuff. While in the new one, she screams at Stitch when she first sees him. So she's just, like, a normal girl now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not that she wasn't afraid of Stitch at first. Like, she was
more
hesitant.
open-minded.
Yeah, she was more open-minded in the original.
I
But
don't
yeah.
know. They're just gonna make Lilo just a normal little girl, and there's gonna be no conflict of losing Lilo from Nani. I mean, maybe there is. There is going to be a social worker. Like there was that big controversy where they announced the casting of some woman being the social worker, and people were like, "Oh, they got rid of Bubbles." But then there's like, "No, Bubbles is in it. We just didn't announce we casted him yet." So there's 2 social workers. So I think they're just scrapping Cobra Bubbles being a social worker and having someone else.
They can,
But a
they
lot
can
of
make
people,
an agent or something. I
a
don't
lot
know.
of a lot of people don't like that because it's usually social workers are portrayed as women because like, oh, mother, like they take care of kids. So like in the original animated movie it was like more progressive being just like a man being a social worker, you know what I mean? Because that's not common.
And that's just a man,
So
this big hulking man who looks like he's killed a few people. Even they joked about that in the original, like, have you killed someone? We're getting off the topic. And that was funny. It was funny.
That's honestly why I kind of miss Michael J. Duncan. I think that was the original voice actor for Bubbles. He passed away like about 10 years ago when he had a heart attack. Well, he was out on a date with his fiance. He had a heart attack. He passed away, unfortunately, and that's why we never really got anything else from him going forward. Because the actor is dead, unfortunately. But if he were still alive, he would made a great casting. Well, he might have been a little bit out of shape by then, but he would still been a great casting choice because he's a very imposing man.
It would have made sense if he's like a retired Men in Black agent who like saved the world from Pleakley's species by telling them mosquitoes are a endangered species. He would have aged into the role, kinda.
Yeah, not Pleakley's species, like the Galactic Federation. So that's what the whole thing. That's the reason why Pleakley stopped them from gassing the planet originally. Which, by the way, question: if that was their first reaction when Stitch was heading that way, how many planets are left after they've gassed them on first instinct?
Dang.
I mean, humanity.
Why were they gonna destroy Earth?
Because Stitch was heading there.
No. Before that, they were gonna like with the mosquitoes.
They were going to stop. They stopped them because the, I guess, whatever agency Cobra works with said that mosquitoes were an endangered species.
Yeah, I know how they stopped them, but what were they going to do if Cobra didn't stop them? Like, were they just gonna blow up Earth?
They were going to gas the planet and then, I guess, pray that life.
Why? What happened? What did Cobra Bubbles? What was going on in Cobra Bubbles' youth? Honestly, there's a Disney Plus series for you right there. Young Cobra Bubbles.
Yeah, Cobra Bubbles. They're never going to do that because they've stopped doing any animated series that could possibly have.
They could do a live action spin-off. We're getting like, I don't know if it's still being made. They were going to make a spin-off about the one white character from Aladdin and like a spin-off with Gaston and LeFou. But I don't know if those are still being made.
Okay, Gaston and LeFou would have been interesting, but
the Aladdin spin-off was just like stupid. Like, who gives a fuck about this one bit character, Prince Anders? I wonder if that got canceled because his name's too similar to Andor.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Like, oh, we can't have Anders and Andor on Disney Plus. Okay. Also, like, why are we gonna make if we're gonna make an Aladdin spin-off show? Why are we gonna make it about this OC white guy we introduced who was just like an annoying ass?
I mean,
like, he was not entertaining; he was just annoying.
They were trying to come up with anything to keep Disney Plus going because they're running out of steam. They've pretty much created too many series for people to keep up with. They create series that people have to watch in order to keep up with the MCU.
Yeah.
Which, why would you do that? And they try to take a movie concept, Kenobi, and stretch it out into multiple episodes that have just drag on. Like, the concept of Kenobi was perfect. Tell us the story of how Kenobi would eventually meet Luke Skywalker when he grows up, and how he eventually comes across Darth Vader and how they clash again. That would be interesting. But they stretch it out into a series which was so unnecessary.
It was supposed to be a movie at one point, but I don't know. They just needed Disney Plus content for some reason. We need like 10 shows a year or something.
Then how about, here's a concept for you, Disney, re-release your original films.
Oh, Barry, yeah, just.
But that's not going to get Disney Plus money because they need subscribers.
Yes, it will. Because
if their movies are re-released into theaters, that's not going to get Disney Plus money.
Let me rephrase what I just said. Re-release your films on your streaming platform.
That they are on there.
Not all of them. There many of them are missing.
All the Star Warses are on there.
All the classic Disney films on there?
All the classic Disney ones, yeah. Except maybe some like random ones like are like no one cares about.
And I guess Disney Plus in Canada is missing a few then.
Yeah, probably
Yeah,
because
they pretty much have everything.
because last year we did our watch party for like the prequel trilogy, and then the year before that we did a watch party for like the original trilogy. So
it is like rights things with streaming service. Maybe another streaming service has like the streaming rights to Star Wars, and Disney's just waiting it out in Canada.
Maybe that might be the reason, yeah. But still, if you want to have more people watching your streaming platform, then how about instead of just shutting things in your streaming platform and praying they watch it, give us some more interesting stuff. Like how about giving some of your old Disney Channel content? Like,
They have a lot of that in America.
How many people do you think would die to watch the entire series of Kim Possible, or fucking What's Up with Raven, or whatever that.
That's So Raven.
Hey, you guys don't have anything because all this stuff is in America.
It's not canon, unfortunately, and I would die to watch the entirety of Kim Possible. And
Get yourself a VPN.
It doesn't work on our TV, and I don't know why.
The one thing that I thought was weird about Disney Plus is that like on launch they had no ABC shows or Fox Channel shows.
And that's surprising.
It's like there's yes, there's basically a lot of kid appealing stuff, but I'm like, after the novelty of new streaming service, there's nothing for like parents to watch. So like where's Castle? Where's How to Get Away with Murder? Where's Scandal? Where's Lost? You know what I mean? Like stuff for adults.
Oh God, Law.
Like there's like just like kids, like adults are not gonna watch That's So Raven. Like certain adults.
Like anyone who didn't grow up with the Disney Channel when they were younger isn't gonna watch it as an adult.
Even people who did grow up with it, some people just might be like, oh, I grew out of this baby stuff and this will never revisit it. And the thing is like, yeah, you can have a lot of legacy content on a streaming service, but that is the long people will watch it and just get bored, won't watch it again. So like people will just leave. So you have to make new stuff to get people to come in. But like I do agree with what you're saying, where it's like you need to do quality over quantity, where just make good stuff rather than a bunch of mid stuff. That's just the problem with Disney Plus.
It's a problem with Disney in general because they go over budget so much, and they say, "Oh, why did our stuff not work? Why did we not make money back?" Because you went double your budget because you wanted to refilm stuff, remake stuff, and do stuff that people didn't ask you to do.
And
Looking at you, Snow White.
Problem with all streaming in general, where like everything has to be TV shows have to be movie budget now. That's not sustainable, especially with an ad-free streaming service. We need to go back to like TV budgeted TV shows with maybe more episodes a season.
Yeah,
like not everything has to be movie budget. I don't know. We could deal with like people are gonna dog on the CG shit, but like. We dealt with it before. We could deal with it now. Now they've just opened Pandora's box where people won't accept it anymore. People just complain CGI is bad, therefore show bad, because they've been spoiled with movie quality shows.
Which isn't fair because there's plenty of indie animation that's better than modern day like corporate animation.
That's another thing. There's like barely any original Disney animated shows on Disney Plus. Like they have stuff based on movies, again, trying to make them look like movie quality. But because they're movie quality, they're like 5-10 minute long episodes and like a 6-episode season. And then like the Monsters Inc. thing, I don't give a fuck about.
I watched like 2 episodes of that and immediately got bored because it just felt like
it looks boring. And they literally have a villain in it that's just like inverted color Mike Wazowski. And he's like, my arch rival, Gary. And they took the Mike Wazowski model and made him blue. They didn't do anything to change him to make him look different. It's like fucking stupid. It's like they made the Shadow the Hedgehog of Mike Wazowski.
Just stupid.
Like, Gary. Oh, hello, Mike Wazowski. It's me, Gary.
So it's a Shadow Hedgehog syndrome with a Pokemon rival name. What the
Yeah. I don't know. Like there's so many cool modern Disney Channel shows, like say like Gravity Falls, The Owl House, Amphibia. Like they should have just made shows like that and put them on Disney Plus and like just advertise them as a for all ages cartoon.
I mean, I know plenty of people who are like in their like early 20s who still follow Gravity Falls because they love the mystery. They loved actually going through each episode and like going through all the puzzles and such to answer the full mystery, and people loved it. And for the kids, you got the wacky, insane humor from Mabel. Sure.
Like just make shows like that and just make it a hard PG, kind of like Digital Circus, where it's like a hard PG where like they blur swearing and make some kind of adult jokes, but like kids could probably watch it. And just advertise it as like a big Disney Plus release, like an original thing. Like if Owl House was on Disney Plus and was advertised the shit, it would have done way better.
Well, it still did. And
It
well,
did.
no, but people didn't watch it much because Disney tried to hide it from the general public.
Again, if they advertised it as a for all ages family cartoon, they would have had something big. But they canceled it because it doesn't fit the Disney brand, whatever the fuck that means.
The Disney brand changes every single year.
It
Like,
changes
oh,
every time someone else gets a promotion. That's why it was canceled. Someone got a promotion. Was like, I didn't greenlight this, so it doesn't fit the Disney brand. Well, my interpretation of it.
It's like, okay, your Disney brand is what? And sometimes it's, oh, we're child friendly. Everything be child based. That's failed. Oh, we're family friendly. There's so much stuff selectively family friendly, and then that fails. It's like, oh, more mature. There's some stuff on the side, and they are just.
Phoenix, your mic's crashing out on our end.
Oh, you're stretching out too.
Oh no.
Am I stretching out?
Yeah.
Yeah, you are.
I am.
Discord in the bit again.
All right, everyone, leave the call and restart it.
Restart.
Am I fixed?
Yeah, you sound good now.
You too. Okay. Discord was shitting itself.
All
Welcome
right.
back.
Hello.
That's back.
Yep.
All right, where did I start glitching out?
About like animated stuff and how it's treated.
Oh, so basically, sometimes it's, oh, we're child friendly. Sometimes it's family friendly. Now it's more mature. And then every single time it fails because their interpretation of what's child friendly, what's family friendly, what's mature is whatever they believe will make them more money, not whatever quality. And that's the biggest problem. They've gone from a company that cares about imagination, inspiration to, oh, what can make us more money? Well, let's try this, see if the green comes in. The green doesn't come in? Okay, we knew that didn't work. Let's try something else.
It's like, it's really sad is I think Cartoon Network was almost going to be in like a golden age where like they had someone in charge who's like, I'm going to make a family block, a toddler block, the normal block, and we're going to make more stuff for Adult Swim. So like there's going to be a bunch of like variety for cartoons for everyone. Then Zaz left, but Warner Brothers fired him. So like the only thing that really came out was the toddler stuff. And everything that was supposed to be on the family block that would have done really well got like dumped on Adult Swim or sold to Amazon Prime. And like these shows are clearly not adult cartoons, but because they're action, they got Adult Swimmed. It's like really stupid. It's so stupid they're on Adult Swim. Like My Adventures of Superman has no business being on Adult Swim. It is a kid's cartoon.
Well, at least teens kind of cartoon. I would say kids cartoons, more teen cartoon because it does have mature themes. But yeah, that it doesn't belong on Adult Swim. I'll say that much.
Yeah, it's like a family. It's like an action cartoon. It's no different than like Saturday morning cartoons, like when we were kids. Like I don't see anything offensive that would be like bad for kids. Especially since it's like everyone's so cutesy in that show. Like it's a good show, but it's just like Superman has no. But this version of Superman in particular just has no business on Adult Swim. Maybe if it was like
it's similar to Batman the Animated Series, where it's not kiddish, but it's mature enough to not be put on the.
It's a little more darker.
Well, it's Batman. It's always gonna be darker.
This is like if you took like Netflix's Voltron or She-Ra and put them on Adult Swim. And it's like
Okay, that's
they're not adult.
I bet, but
She-Ra is not an Adult Swim show. Like the Superman, it's like the same vibe as the She-Ra cartoons. Like they're not adult cartoons.
I know. I'm not saying it should be on. I'm not saying it should be on Adult Swim. I'm saying it's not Adult Swim worthy, but it's also not a kid show per se. It's a little more mature than that.
Yeah, but kids can handle it. This would have aired on Saturday morning cartoons when we were kids, and we would have handled it.
Let's say, like us, our generation of kids, sure. This generation of kids, hell no. Their parents weren't going to let them do that.
But like literally, like if you just released it, said nothing, no one would notice or complain because there's nothing offensive about it.
I agree.
Like it's only offensive to execs who think like what's appropriate for kids.
Yeah, what they think, that's the key word. What they think is appropriate to kids. They don't know.
You're asking like old people in like suits with a bunch of money what they think kids would like. They're like out of touch, they don't know. Trust the animators. They watched cartoons as kids. They know what kids are gonna like.
Yeah.
Exactly. Trust the animators, trust the writers who have grown up with this and know good writing. Trust the people who are actually making the show. Execs, just let the ratings speak for themselves.
Like their job is making shows for kids. They're not going to do anything that's going to like traumatize anyone. Well, I mean, there's some Cartoon Network shows recently with some traumatizing stuff, so maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they've been pushing the limit a little bit. But the family block would have fixed this.
It depends on the network, but yes.
They should not have scrapped the family block. That would have been the golden age of Cartoon Network.
So the way I see it, execs should be able to look at a concept and think, okay, if it fits in this particular block, let's give it a try. If it works, great, give it another season. If it doesn't, you tried, it didn't work, move on to the next project. But the thing, you gotta let the animators try. If you don't let them try different concepts to see what works, then they're not going to learn, and thus they're not going to adapt.
Like,
and that's the problem with execs.
Go back. Sorry, go.
They're not willing to take risks, even though they have the money to take risks. And when they try to take risks with something that isn't worth the risk because they're being stupid about it, they blame the animators, even though it was their idea.
Like, it's so bizarre. Like, they're already wasting money by not airing the shows and not advertising them. What's gonna hurt them just wasting money making ads for it, and then like if it fails, just cancel it and write it off? Like, actually give it a chance. Like, you're gonna waste money either scenario. You waste money, but like at least one, like you gave it a chance to possibly be an iconic franchise that you can milk. Like isn't the whole thing of making new properties is just basically make a brand that you can like milk, like the next SpongeBob, you know what I mean? So like, do they not want the next SpongeBob?
Well, not specifically, but they do want the next big thing, and it's going to become
you know what I mean. That's
brand.
Like,
I mean, it's
like we made this thing, but like we don't really care about it. Just let it flop on purpose. We'll just pretend it didn't exist. I'm like, well, then why did you spend money on it?
It's the reason why. To give a different example, for video games, it's the reason why Nintendo is seen as a visionary, because they're willing to take risks and make new IPs and see if they work. Splatoon was a massive risk for them during the Wii U era because people didn't think we're sure if it was going to work or not. We're 3 games in and people still love it. And then when they tried ARMS, people were sort of lukewarm to it, and so the last time we heard anything ARMS related, it was just putting Min in Smash Ultimate, and that's it. Like, they tried, it wasn't a mass success. Like, people were okay with it, but it wasn't a big success for the Switch. So they thought, okay, we tried. Let's throw Springman into Smash Ultimate Decision Trophy and Min as a DLC fighter, and then just drop it completely because clearly people aren't really interested in it. But that's the thing. They took the risk. They learned what people were okay with and what the people that weren't okay with. They still used it one last time, and people thought, okay, it was good. It was a good try. Now please give us Mother 3. Please.
But now we're in the era of remakes.
Yeah.
Okay, Mother 64 remake. Give it to us.
Oh, please. Hey, reignite the Mother 64 thing and put it on the Switch.
The thing about Mother is just like I would love to see like a modern version of Mother where it's just like a 3D open world game like the N64 one. But I feel like if we get another Mother, it would just be kind of like a top-down, basically a like shot for shot remake, just like top-down RPG.
It'd
But
be a
in
remake of
3D.
it'd basically be a remake of Earthbound, more or less. Which
Yeah, but like no, I want like a reboot of Earthbound with a different animation style, like similar, but like basically how like SNES Mario to N64 Mario, where they had to reinvent Mario. Like, how do you make Mario 3D
yeah,
instead of just doing like the 2D game, but like with 3D models instead?
yeah.
So,
Yeah. I'll say this much with the Switch 2, they're being a little more open to new ideas. Like we have a new Tomodachi game, we have a new 3D Donkey Kong game. People are hyped for that.
Yeah, that FromSoft game as well.
That FromSoft game, which is exclusive to Switch 2, that surprised a lot of people. So they're being more open to reigniting their old IPs, or at the very least, try new things with the current ones. So
it is kind of weird that every Nintendo game is open world now. Like Odyssey was kind of open world. Breath of the Wild is kind of open world. Donkey Kong is open world now. Fucking Mario Kart is open world now. It's
well, here's the thing with Odyssey. People more or less compared it to Banjo-Kazooie with open level, but still a map screen. But yeah.
But the maps were like so big, each level felt like open world.
It felt like proper open world. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Even like I kind of similar. I don't think the new Kirby game is like open world, but it's kind of like 3D version. But I don't know. It's just kind of like I'm kind of interested in the new Donkey Kong game, but I don't really like open world games, so I don't even know if I would even like it.
I'll say this, but Kirby Air Riders is going to be similar to Kirby Air Ride, where it's not going to have an open world aside from. If they bring it back, and please Sakurai bring it back, unless they bring back City Tour, the free for all mode. It's just gonna be the races.
But it's just funny we have open world Mario Kart. Like everything have to be open world.
They're trying to push the limits with their current IPs, which I understand why they're doing it, because you can only do so much with a car racing game without copying your competitors, which they're already bordering on by having planes and boats, which. With the Sega All-Stars racing game where he did, but
yeah, like what's next? Open world Game and Watch.
I don't think they're touching Game and Watch or anything other than novelty. Honestly, the next thing we're getting is probably
bring him back. Game and Watch movie when.
The best thing we're getting is a proper open world Pokemon, which, as you know, Arceus wasn't really open world. There was still closed areas. If it's not that, then probably open world Kid Icarus, if Sakurai is willing to hand over the reins to another Kid Icarus game to someone else.
I don't know much about Kid Icarus, but wasn't the last one like a kind of like a shooter kind of thing?
Yeah, rail shooter.
Yeah,
half rail shooter. It was half rail shooter, half free flow shooter.
All right, but they probably just have to like remake the whole concept to be open world.
If possible, maybe what they could do is make it so there are certain areas where there are air battles that are on timers, and then the rest of it is on the ground where you have basically freedom to run wherever you want. But
Kid Icarus would be like the funniest series if they do that, because I think the first one's just a platformer, the second one's a rail shooter, and then the third one's an open world game.
Well, technically there would be the fourth one, because there was a second one on the Game Boy Color that was not received very well.
Well, what genre was that?
It was. It's
platform.
It was a side scroller with very little substance.
So we got platformer, side scroller,
rail shooter, half shooter. Good question, because it's
people are like, I miss the old gameplay style of Kid Icarus, and you're like, well, which one?
Yes.
Most people, when they assume, they think the NES version, which no, you don't. That shit was contra difficult. Still, the thing with the third one,
Wario.
Well, how would they do open world Mario? Would they do it like Galaxy style?
Wario World, but it's actually a world.
But would it be like? Would it be like Galaxy style with like multiple different areas to explore and power-ups you can collect, or would it be Sunshine level where you have more options for exploration, but little to no power ups.
I don't know.
Because Odyssey had power ups ish with the capture system, but it was closed off only to those individual kingdoms.
Hmm.
So, still.
I like how we went from RWBY to like a whole bunch of shit.
I know, I was gonna say, we should probably get back on the topic of RWBY.
Yeah, it's been a week since we watched RWBY. Our minds are wandering.
Yeah, and honestly, after the controversy, I say controversy meant air quotes because I don't believe it's controversy. I think people are just exaggerating with the Switch 2 and its game prices. It's just a whole load of other stuff because people are blaming Nintendo for higher prices. Like, no, it's not Nintendo's fault. It's the other game's fault for saying, "Oh yeah, let's raise the prices and make it so we have more budget for people to play games with." Like, okay, but so far your games have not been very good.
Mm-hmm.
But whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I expected. Yeah, you go.
I like it's just so wild to me. Like if you want like a physical copy, okay, I get the price increase, but like digital copies, why? Juni!
I'm pretty sure the Switch 2, the digital ones are going to be cheaper.
They are cheaper. It's like a $10 to $15 price.
Yeah, they're going to be like the
$10 difference,
price.
but it's like quote unquote normal. It should be much cheaper than that, since a lot of the times of why the game is so expensive is because of the physical copies being shipped across the nation and whatnot. Right? That makes sense. Okay, that makes sense because you gotta pay your expenses for your shipping costs. Gotcha. Cool.
And mind you, another reason for the physical copy is because they're using proprietary technology for their cartridges. So they have to make a lot of that stuff in-house. They can't just buy stuff from the hardware store and then just put the media onto the carts. It's not with PlayStation or Xbox where they can just buy a bunch of like high-space CDs and then put their games onto them.
Mm-hmm.
So then what if you just, buy digital then? Because like that would just skip the middleman then.
The problem with that is that it was not really big of a problem with Switch 2, but it's the fact that there's no way for you to plug in like a hard drive that's like 1 or 2 terabytes because it only uses SD cards, which the Switch 2 is only going to use SD micro express cards, which I know there's one company that goes up to a terabyte, but that shit's expensive.
Mm. Yeah, the concept of like the key cards, where it's like basically like the gift cards but on a cartridge. But the good thing is that like you can swap the gift card code basically to different Switches, so that's cool. So it's kind of like a physical cartridge. You know what I mean?
It's pretty much a physical cartridge, only you still have to download the game.
Yeah, it's like an empty cartridge with a code. But like the problem with it is now it's basically like other games. There's like, oh, we could do that and it's cheaper. We'll just make every game like that.
And the thing,
like
Nintendo,
every third-party game is just the key card, even when they don't even need to be, because it's cheaper to it's cheaper to buy the cartridge for them to make the cartridges that way.
And that's a problem. Whenever Nintendo does something for a good reason, like, oh, we made these key cards because the game won't probably fit on the cartridge on its own, so we made it so you can just buy the physical copy. So you'll still have a physical card to work with, and you can still share it with your friends, but you'll have to still download the game. So the only problem is if you have your bad internet, which nowadays, if you have a Switch 2, you probably have to use the internet, unless you're buying it for a friend. But the problem with the key card is that, is it going to have some sort of like backup should the servers go down? Will you make it so if you download the game, it's just on like a backup server that you can still download the games from once the default Switch servers go down?
Yeah, like when the Switch goes down, you're just not gonna be able to download the stuff. Probably you might be for like a couple of years, but they're probably gonna shut that down eventually. I'm pretty sure someone mentioned it on like one of my streams that the Wii still like lets you download like the Wii U and 3DS still let you download games if you bought them. Yeah, even though their shops are shut down.
The way it works is that they have a backup server for both, and if the games are still on your account, you can still re-download them. But if you cannot buy any new games mind you, people have found ways around this by more or less recreating the Wii 3DS and Wii U shops through extra servers, but they're doing this more or less in secret so that Nintendo doesn't attack them. Even though Nintendo, you're not making money from these games, you shut the servers down. So why are you complaining? It's game preservation that you refuse to keep up with. So
Yeah.
Honest, with all the Switch prices, I don't think I'm gonna necessarily. I want to buy a Switch 2, but I don't think I will realistically. But now, because I can't really afford, I kind of like I kind of want to buy a retro console and just like, so I can just have like the vibe of having a new console and buying new games for it.
yeah,
Because I can probably get games cheaper.
what I'm probably going to end up doing, because I ended up signing up for that not really I don't know how to put it, but basically on the 8th, Nintendo's going to send out email to people who are selected to get private access to purchasing. I'm probably going to end up purchasing the Switch 2 and maybe a couple like game passes to unlock some extra content in Switch 1 games. But other than that, there's nothing else that's really in the launch window that I'm interested in getting.
Yeah. Every game I kind of want to play on the Switch is already on the Switch 1. And like I would like, I was like, I'll wait until I get a Switch 2 so that way I get the cool Switch 2 box art, the Switch 2 editions. But they reveal what the Switch 2 editions look like and they look like shit. I'm like, I'll just get the normal Switch ones.
And the thing is that while there are certain games you have to pay to get the extras, there are also many games that are going to have free updates. Like one that I'm looking forward to the most, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. They're getting optimization updates, which means I can finally play the game with a game fucking crapping out on me every 10 minutes.
Just, like the only reason I would buy Switch 2 games is because Switch 1 games on the Switch 2 is for the pretty new box art, but like the Switch box art looks like shit, and then the Switch editions from the Switch 1 have weird chunky text on the box art also, so it just looks extra ugly. And I'm like, why would I ever buy the Switch 2 versions? It's got like the big red bar on the top and then a bunch of text on the bottom saying like this is the Switch game with a gift card code in it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like put that on the back of the box. I don't care if it's gonna confuse moms. The big red bar on the top is signing up that this is the Switch 2 one.
Also, something I found out about recently, and this actually still bugs me to this day. You know how Breath of the Wild has DLC?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you have to pay for the DLC as well as the game as well.
Yeah, the Switch 2 edition is not going to include the DLC.
Yep. Bullshit.
Yep.
And even
that game, how old is that game? 7 years old?
Yep.
It was a Switch launch title. Or at least a close to launch title. It's like the first year of launch.
Was it like 7 years old?
Give or take, yes.
Like the game is still $60 on Switch 1.
Yeah.
It's like, if you're going to re-release the game for Switch 2, then make it a full, like, the definitive edition with all the DLC included.
Yeah.
But then it'll be worth the price, because you have it priced at $70, $80.
Heck, make a bundle. Like the Switch Breath of the Wild Tears of the Kingdom bundle.
That would be worth, yes. And here's the thing, the only thing the Switch 2 version adds, which for the Breath of the Wild, I don't see as worth it. With Tears of the Kingdom, I do see it worth it because of one thing. It adds better graphics and the ability to find shrines and Korok seeds better with your phone. Which, sure, a neat little feature, but not worth paying an extra $10, $15. With Tears of the Kingdom, you get all that, plus the ability to share and import gadget blueprints for like builds. That shit's awesome because I want a mech in my game.
And the whole like gift card where they get an upgrade is so bullshit because like PlayStation and Xbox just does that for free.
Well,
like the next gen upgrade on launch for your previous console generation games.
Most of the time, they're having a select few cases where they ask you to pay extra for a next gen upgrade.
Oh, they do. That's bull.
It's not a majority. It's only a select few, but still, it's not unheard of for next gen upgrades to cost you an extra $20.
Like if these gift cards to upgrade the Breath of the Wild, they better be $5 because if it's like $10, $20, that's fucking bullshit.
Let me pull up the fresh real quick. Let's see
for like the upgrade cards.
Switch 2 edition
No, not the edition. I mean, like the solo gift card. Like if you own the game, you have to get a gift card.
Yeah, upgrade packs.
Yeah.
Packs price. So this is in CAD, so keep that in mind. Let's see. Switch your game upgrade pricing confirmed by Best Buy. Breath of the Wild to the Kingdom, $10. Forgotten Land and Jamboree, $20.
Okay, like $10 is a lot, but like okay, $10 gift card, not too bad. $20, bullshit. That's a game.
Well, mind you, Forgotten Land Jamboree might as well be DLC.
But then again, this is Canada price, right? So like, what's the price difference? So is like $5 more in Canada or something?
Hang on, let me double check, make sure I got that right. Hang on, let me try looking somewhere else other than Reddit.
What are they called? I'll just Google it here.
They're called upgrade packs.
Breath. Breath of the Wild. Upgrade pack costs.
Oh, so I was wrong. So that's $10 US and $20 US. It's $15 CAD for the Breath of the Wild 2 the Kingdom upgrade pack.
All right, the Tears of the Kingdom one says it's $10 in America.
Yeah. So that's what I meant. Like $10 in USD and $15 CAD.
Okay.
And
what
then
about, I don't know how much is the Breath of the Wild one, but I'm gonna assume they're both gonna be $10 each, probably.
Breath of the Wild 2 the Kingdom are both $10 each
in America. Okay, like that's fine, I guess. $10 is fine. $20, that's like a whole game.
Well, again, $20.
Like, I would have.
$20 is just for $20 is just for Jamboree and Forgotten Land.
$20 for Jamboree. It's fucking Mario Party. You buy it, you play it once, and then you're done.
It's mainly for the features that use the mouse controls and the camera, which, by the way, I'm not getting. I do not need another camera in my house.
I guess that's DLC then, I guess.
It's DLC because it adds like 5 extra modes, and for Kirby it adds a whole other story, which, sure, but again...
Like Kirby, it's basically Bowser's Fury.
Pretty much.
Hopefully it's bigger than Bowser's Fury, because if it's like a 2-3 hour little mini thing, that's not really worth it.
We have next to no answers on it, honestly.
But yeah, I'm kind of thinking about getting like a retro console and just collecting on that to get that like vibe of like, ooh, I bought new tech thing and I can collect things for it that's affordable.
I think a friend of mine mentioned there's like a retro console you can like portably and carry around. I don't remember what it was called though.
Was it the PSP?
No, it wasn't PSP. It was something else. It was like something you could, it's like a console itself that you could actually have different console generations into one thing, and it was official, so you could actually play different console generations on it. I don't remember what it was called though.
I
don't remember.
This is like a third-party thing.
I don't remember. This was like
I know there's like I remember seeing about this third-party like console thing that like basically like can emulate retro consoles, and you can have like. You can like have detachable docks, and you can like, plug it into it. So like if you want to play a SNES game on it, you put like the SNES dock, and then
my roommate right now.
Okay,
fair enough.
It looks like it reconnected itself.
All right, we can say goodbye then.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
That's gone.
All right. Okay. All right. Thank you everybody for hopping by today. Sorry we didn't talk about RWBY as much as we normally do. We went
quite a bit.
Yeah, we talked about quite a bit, but like we went on like tangents longer than we'll talk about RWBY for.
It was 70% RWBY, 30% other stuff.
Yeah, like we talked about RWBY for 2 hours, and then like an extra hour and a half of random stuff.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to look through the VOD to fact check that, but yeah. So. So, anyways, thank you for hopping by. Next week we will be talking about RWBY Volume 6 finally, thankfully. Let's see, who should we raid into today?
Let's see if I have anyone.
I think I have a couple people in mind.
Could raid Vjambi.
That's true.
Well,
I heard they're pretty cool.
I don't know. You have to
Oh,
Yeah,
is
check
Phoenix
that.
Dusklive?
No.
Raid them.
Moon's live, but no one else I know is.
They can probably raid into Nahoko Veta. They did an
Okay.
I commissioned them for like art once, and I really need to again. They're really talented artists. They're playing
So-
Expedition 33 last I checked. I don't know if they're still on now. Okay, yeah, they're still on.
Sweet.
Yep. Veta.
Fuck this shit, I'm out.
Message. Alright. Thank you everybody for having by today. Tomorrow night we'll be back again with Borderlands 3 with Dakota and Calmer. And after that, I have no idea what I'm gonna be doing for the rest of the week. So if I don't see you again, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Let's go. Forward.
Adios.
Bye, everybody.
Bye bye.
All right. Have a good rest of your night, you two. This was fun.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Bye bye.
Later.
Bye.
Bye.